What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 4 id. Chapter 71 Marine Mobilization. Everyone goes to the Holy Land to kill. Open black lens bracket 4/5 please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Naval Headquarters, Marineford, Headquarters Building, Conference Room. Marine Marshal Orlando, the 3 generals and the Vice Admirals gathered together, discussing a series of post-war issues, and the most important hero commendation meeting, regarding the world government's small move to erase Roger's achievements without authorization. Everyone at Marine was filled with outrage. It's just that I can't relieve my anger at all now. So they prepared to plan a live broadcast of recognition to the world. Roger is the guy who Impel Down. Thus this meeting, Impel Down director Columbus 6 was as special as Gabrielle. What Columbus didn't know was that, as soon as he stepped forward with his front foot, something happened when his back foot impelled down. Brew brew brew. Urgent phone calls interrupted the meeting. Columbus smiled apologetically. It doesn't matter, just put it through. Impel Down will never allow Chi to make any mistakes. Marshal Orlando said, but as long as Brother Roger is here, those prisoners won't be able to cause any trouble. Unless something happens to Brother Roger, ha ha ha, how could it happen? Old Carl and Old God are here. Marshal Orlando and others glanced at Old Carl helplessly. Brew brew. Gajia. The phone bug answered. Director, something bad has happened. Just now, that guy Charles took Roger to the Holy Land. Deputy Warden Macaw's anxious voice came from the phone bug. Nani, what did you say? Roger went to the Holy Land. How could that guy Charles take Roger away? Could it be that? Marshal Orlando, Old Carl, Administrator Columbus, and more Marine Vice Admiral executives all stood up and were extremely shocked by the news. After the big incident on Saiken Island, everyone in the world knows it. Impel Down's Shirayasha is the strongest man in the world. In this world, no one can take him away by force against his will. So there is only one answer. That's why Roger wants to go there himself. Go to the Holy Land Mariajoy. Hey, dear Roger, what on earth do you want to do in the Holy Land? Old Carl looked dull. Orlando, something bad is going to happen. Macaw, what happened while I was away? What did that guy Charles say? Director Columbus asked anxiously. Director, after you left, that guy Charles came to Roger with orders from the 5 elders and wanted Roger to hand over the 6 styles. Immediately, Macaw urgently informed all the causes and consequences. The huge headquarters conference room was silent. The next second, boom, Old Carl smashed the conference table with a slap. His world government is simply too deceptive. The 6 styles are Brother Roger's hard work, and they haven't even finished them yet. They are so impatient to pick peaches. Old Carl's expression was extremely ugly. Roger is a hero. He saved us. He saved the world. Does the credit for saving the world not equal the fault for breaking the ban and leaving Impel Down? Should a hero be pointed at a gun? What's the point? World government. This is too much. The Marine Vice Admirals who attended the meeting were all filled with indignation and rage. They felt that there was a fire in their hearts that needed to be vented. They are still discussing a grand commendation meeting for the heroes. The world government, on the other hand, directly stabbed the heroes in the back. Originally, Brother Roger didn't want to hide the 6 styles. We originally planned to start promoting them in Marine after they are completely completed. If the world government wants it, there will be countless ways to obtain it, but those. Old Carl gritted his teeth. These words further stimulated the heartstrings of Marine's senior executives. No, I will never allow it. Marshal, Roger is a hero. Heroes should not suffer oppression and injustice. Heroes should be treated like heroes. Otherwise, it will chill the hearts of all sailors. The Vice Admirals spoke one after another. I can't bear it anymore. I'm going to the Holy Land. No matter what happens today, I will stand on a united front with Brother Roger. Old Carl got up and was about to walk out. Wait, Carl. It's no use trying to stop me, Orlando. No, I'm not trying to stop you. It's not just you, I'm going too, and everyone here. Anyone who doesn't want to go can come forward. Marshal Orlando's gaze swept across the audience. Even the most rule-abiding Admiral Spruance had no objection. Okay, Raymond, you are the fastest, go to the red line first, and report immediately once Roger appears. Others, now gather the sailors who are willing to go to the Holy Land. If we come this time, it will be a big one. Marshal Orlando looked determined. Yes, Admiral Raymond took the order and was the first to transform into lightning and disappear. The other Vice Admirals also acted independently. Inform the sailors at headquarters about the incident. As a result, the entire naval headquarters was shocked. At the same time, at the speed of thunder Admiral Raymond. When we boarded the red line, Roger was still on the road. Raymond did nothing, quietly dormant outside the holy place Mariajoy. Like this for a long time. After not moving for a long time, the sleepy Raymond suddenly started to stir. Roger and Charles have arrived at the Holy Land Mariajoy. Admiral Raymond took out the phone bug immediately. Called, just wanted to notify the marshal and others. But only a loud bang was heard. Not far away, smoke billowed from the gates of the magnificent Mariajoy. It collapsed with a crash. Hey, Raymond, what's going on? Speak quickly. What's that noise about? What's going on over there? The other end of the phone bug. The voices of Marshal Orlando and Vice Admiral Carl alternately sounded. Hiss, who, Rao is the always youthful and passionate Admiral Raymond. At this 1.6 moment, I was completely stunned and frightened by the scene I saw in front of me. In his lifetime, he had never thought about it. There are people in this world who can do such a thing. Really, youth, Raymond Admiral, Roger, what happened to Roger? A beautiful female voice came from the other end of the phone. It was Rear Admiral Tia. Marshal, Mr. Carl, and everyone, don't be anxious, don't worry, Roger is fine. He just kicked the Mariajoy door open with one kick. Admiral Raymond took a deep breath and told everyone about this shocking event. As long as it's okay. Just as long as it's okay. What? I just kicked Mariajoy's big. Nani. The gate of the Holy Land was kicked open by Brother Roger. Chapter 72 Unprecedented. Enter the Holy Land and defeat the Celestial Dragons. Open black lens bracket 5/5. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Boom. Standing red line for 700 years. The magnificent gate of the Holy Land collapsed at this moment. Endless smoke and dust shot straight into the sky. The world seemed to be quiet. A moment or a long time. Ah. Deputy Commissioner Charles's heart-rending screams rang out. You, what on earth did you do? This is Mariajoy. The sacred place in the center of the world. Charles roared at the top of his lungs. Don't you, the world government, really want the sixth kick? That's why I personally sent it to you. The previous move was called Tempest Kick. Roger sneered. You, madman. Madman, how dare you do such a thing to the Holy Land? You are really crazy. I'm done for bringing you, this madman, here. I'm done. Deputy Commissioner Charles cried out in despair. Ah, Roger chuckled. Ignore Charles, who was crying like a dead horse. He just lifted his feet and walked back to the Holy Land. At the same time, not far behind the gate of the Holy Land, an escalator propelled underground by 2,300 of slaves. Snow Witch, the witch who once attacked me will finally become mine. Great. Celestial Dragons Taruta dances with joy. Not long ago, he received training from Charles. It was learned that Charles was approaching the Holy Land. Because Charles hid Roger's words. So now Celestial Dragons Taruta can just think that he has brought the Snow Witch. In order to prevent other Celestial Dragons from cutting off the peaches halfway. Taruta came in person in a hurry. That witch, I must teach her to be the best. There was a loud bang. Celestial Dragons Taruta was so frightened that he fell down on the escalator. What's wrong? What's going on? Lord Taruta, look over there at the gate. A Celestial Dragon's guard screamed. The door collapsed. In the end, what happened? Is it an enemy attack? How is that possible? This is a holy land. All the Celestial Dragon's guards had extremely shocked and disbelieving expressions on their faces. Although they didn't know what was going on, their intuition told them. If you continue to stay here, something bad may happen. They want to leave with the Celestial Dragons Tarutico paralyzed with fear. However, it was too late. There were footsteps coming from the smoke at the gate of the Holy Land. A figure of 2.78 meters tall appeared in the sight of Celestial Dragons Tarutico and his party. You, who are you? This is the Holy Land Mariajoy. This is not a place where you can act wild. The Celestial Dragon's guards held weapons and yelled loudly and restrainedly. However, he didn't dare to get even close. A warning for them. Roger would not pay any attention to it. Now that he is here today, he has already made plans to completely break his face. As a time traveler, if you don't come to the Holy Land of Mariajoy, you will make a big fuss. Not qualified by any means. Everyone, protect Taruta and leave. Come on, Holy Taruta. Roger's footsteps paused. His eyes fell on the Celestial Dragons who collapsed on the ground. It turns out you are Tarutico. What a coincidence. It saved me the trouble of looking for you. Roger smiled slightly. What are you? Boom. Invisible conquerors emerge, instantly captured the consciousness of all Celestial Dragons guards. It's finally much quieter now. Roger nodded with satisfaction. As the Impel Down jailer, I reject your request to extract the Snow Witch. Is it clear? Roger ordered majestically. Circle. Celestial Dragons Tarutico's face was full of horror. He couldn't say a word, he just screamed in fear. Bo. Roger flicked his finger. Celestial Dragons, a blood flower exploded from Tarutico's body. The original intention was to make him calm down a little and stop being so noisy. Unexpectedly, his screams became even more shrill, like a pig being slaughtered. Ba. Roger flicked with 5 fingers. Yifei finger pistol opened holes in his body continuously. He fainted to death from the pain. It's so noisy. Roger picked his ears. So, when do you plan to see it? Roger spoke and looked diagonally behind him. Tisk. Lightning flashed, condensed into the form of Admiral Raymond. If you want to stop me, do it now. This is also your duty. Roger spoke calmly. To be honest, I really want to have a real fight with you. Admiral Raymond smiled and immediately changed the subject. But not now, the Marshal did not give me instructions to stop you. That's it. Then I'm leaving. Roger turned around and waved goodbye to Raymond. Roger, just wait a moment, the Marshal and the others will be here soon. Admiral Raymond spoke seriously. I can't wait any longer. This is my business. I don't need to trouble anyone. Roger kept walking. Boom. The Pangu City Gate, which was even grander than the main gate, exploded. At the same time, Holy Land deep in Mariajoy. 5 Elders Hall. 5 old men representing the highest power in the world gathered together. The old faces may show happiness or worry, with different emotions. I said, what are you still worried about? Hasn't that brat from 643 already given in? Give us the 6 moves in person and ask for his forgiveness. Bald birthmark 5 elders' faces are filled with joy and pride. But can it really go so smoothly? We also know from that kid's past behavior that he is not a person who bows his head easily. The blonde 5 elders frowned in concern. What else can I do if I don't bow my head? This is a sacred place, Mariajoy. Does he still want to cause trouble here? The sword-wielding 5 elders sneered. The words just fell. But only a loud noise was heard. 5 elders. Lord 5 elders, something bad is going to happen. Just now, I received a report from the main gate that the gate was blown open by an intruder. A world government official rolled up and yelled a report. The huge 5 elders meeting hall fell into deathly silence. At this time, another loud boom. Lord 5 elders, something bad has happened. The intruders have broken down the gate of Pangu City again and have now penetrated deep into the Holy Land. Another world government official shouted in panic. Nani, what did you say? Intruder. No, it must be that kid. Wow, how dare, how dare. The world's most powerful people, who have always been calm and unfazed by changes, are now collectively furious and crazy. Chapter 73. The big event in the Holy Land Mariajoy comes to an end. Open black lens bracket 1/5. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Go through the narrow corridor of Pangu City Gate. There is a gate in front, on the left, and on the right. When Roger came to Mariajoy for the first time, he didn't know what was connected behind the 3 doors. Simply continue to rush forward. Boom. There was a loud bang. The gate directly ahead flew into the sky. Then a huge square appeared in Roger's sight. On the square, dozens of celestial dragons wearing bubble masks are walking and talking leisurely. This is an exclusive social square belonging to the celestial dragons, the descendants of the gods and world nobles. Even the most idiotic celestial dragons could not miss the loud noise near the gate. Immediately, everyone's eyes were focused on the smoke-filled door. Wow, strong winds dispersed the smoke. Roger's figure then appeared clearly. Yo, hello, Roger greeted him, kindly. Dead silence. A pin drop audible silence. Immediately afterwards. The timid celestial dragons screamed one after another. You, who are you? This is the Holy Land Mariajoy, not the place you should come. A few bold or arrogant celestial dragons shouted harshly. Roger didn't take it easy. A look fell. They were so frightened on the spot that they pulled Curry away. I know. He is Shiro Yasha, who is Impel Down. Finally, someone recognized Roger. When the 3 words by Yaksha fell, the whole square exploded again. Always a sacred and tidy square. It was a mess at the moment and the stench was overwhelming. Celestial dragons are usually cruel and frightening to others. Now I finally know what it feels like to be dominated by terror. From beginning to end, Roger just stood there, smiling and enjoying the scene of celestial dragons scurrying around. After a while, when the celestial dragons in the square were rolling and crawling, they were almost running. It's almost time to come. Roger's eyes narrowed slightly. Countless black gun muzzles poked out from the surrounding walls. Roger Shirayasha, you have been surrounded by us. If you know your situation, please quickly raise your hands and surrender. A senior world government official shouted with a loudspeaker. No, you are probably surrounded by me alone. If you don't want to die, just let the 5 old men get out. I have brought the 6 postures they want. Roger grinned. You bastard, you're really going to have to drink wine as a penalty if you don't eat the toast. Everyone, hidden world government officials will order a general attack. The next second, everyone stand down. An old and majestic voice sounded. Accompanied by the patter of footsteps. 5 tall or short, fat or thin old men in suits slowly appeared. 5 elders. It's Lord 5 elders. The 5 elders are really here. Finally, under the shocked and excited eyes of the Mariajoy escorts. The 5 elders, the highest power in the world, stood about 100 meters away from Roger. Hey, I'm here, but you're standing so far away, are you afraid? Roger crossed his arms and asked with a relaxed smile, like a greeting between old friends. Although this was the first time for him to meet formally face to face, Roger was no stranger to the 5 old men opposite him. Because when the plot begins, they are still the 5 elders. But today he is here. I wonder how many of these 5 elders will be replaced in the future. I noticed Roger's subtle gaze. The 5 elders were all shocked. There is a vague feeling of thorns in the back. This kid is serious. Damn it, could he really dare to attack us? Bald birthmark 5 elders gritted their teeth uneasily. Roger Shireyasha, what do you want to do? The oldest man in the dark blue suit with the longest hair and beard is the 5 elders. What do I want to do? Didn't you ask me to come over and give you the 6 styles? Now that I'm here, I just don't know if you dare to accept it. Roger grinned. Damn you little Shireyasha, you are rebelling. How dare you make trouble in the Holy Land? You know the consequences, right? Bald birthmark 5 elders shouted angrily. Roger was noncommittal, and the expression on his face became increasingly indifferent. You who forced me onto this path should also know the consequences. Today, you may have to prepare for a few people to step down and change the leadership. What did you say? The sword-wielding samurai Old Star's eyebrows were raised, as if he was demanding strength. Wait a minute. The blonde-haired 5 elders quickly raised their hands to stop him. Don't provoke him further. If this incident disturbs that adult, someone is coming again. The curly-haired noble 5 elders thought, sensing the many ores pouring into the Holy Land. Tisk. Dark blue electric light flashed. Admiral Raymond showed up first. Raymond, you came just in time. Hurry up and take down that Shiro Yaksha. Bald birthmark the 5 elders were overjoyed and quickly ordered. However, Admiral Raymond seemed as if he hadn't heard anything and just stood motionless. Whoosh, whoosh whoosh. The rapid sound of breaking wind resounded throughout the film. Marine Marshal Orlando, Vice Admiral Old Carl, Admiral Cook, Admiral Spruance, Vice Admiral Mountbatten, Rear Admiral Tia and more, hundreds of Marine generals gathered together came on stage and filled the whole square. Roger. Rear Admiral Tia opened her long legs and jumped into Roger's arms. I couldn't say anything, I just kept sobbing. Don't cry, I'm still fine, right? Roger stroked Tia's little head to express relief. Ha ha ha, brother Roger, don't be afraid, no matter what happens today, I will stand with you. Old Carl said categorically. That's right, and I. Me too, we are all here for this purpose. Thousands of naval headquarters generals echoed in unison. Listening to the rising and falling voices, Roger's heart couldn't help but feel warm. It's a rebellion. It's really a rebellion. The bald birthmark Old Star and the samurai Old Star stamped their feet angrily. Looking at the situation in front of them, they didn't know how. The reason why Marine came was not to Qin Wang, but to capture the king. He was determined to help Roger fight against them. Orlando, what on earth do you want to do? Don't forget your position. Marine is a subordinate of the world government. The 5 elders, who had long hair and beards reaching their waists, suppressed their inner anger and scolded. Of course we are aware of this kind of thing, but in this world, there is something more important than stance and rules, and that is the justice that everyone carries. Marshal Orlando struck his heart. Thousands of Marine generals tapped their hearts in unison. Roger, he is the hero who defeats evil. Heroes don't deserve to be treated like this. If we sit back and let this happen today, who will want to be a hero in the future? It's you who got through this time, 5 elders. Marshal Orlando spoke quietly. The words were spoken with unprecedented force. We just want him to hand over the 6 styles, not his life. Now he is causing trouble in the Holy Land without permission. The 5 elders screamed in grievance. However, the Marines did not accept their tactics at all and remained unmoved. The solid atmosphere lasted for a long time. Tell me, what are you going to do before you give up? The oldest 5 elders took a deep breath and asked coldly. Us. Don't wait for Old Carl to speak. Roger raised his hand to interrupt. He took 2 steps forward. What happened today is ultimately due to the 6 styles. If you want the 6 styles, I can give them to you. Roger spoke calmly. Brother Roger, don't take care of us. When we come here today, we have already prepared the corresponding awareness. There is no need for us. Old Carl and others said anxiously. I thought Roger was taking care of them, so he had to bow his head. I haven't finished speaking yet. Roger smiled and shook his head. His eyes fell on the 5 elders again. It's okay if you want the 6 styles, but you have to pay the corresponding price. What do you want? What I want is very simple, the complete autonomy of the deep-sea prison Impel Down. From now on, the world government shall not interfere with the affairs of Impel Down, and shall no longer arbitrarily extract the prisoners of Impel Down for any unfounded reasons. My territory is mine. Call the shots, Roger said decisively. Bald birthmark the 5 elders were so angry that they had no hair and were stopped by other 5 elders before they could get angry. A long silence. Good. The oldest 5 elders agreed. We have agreed, you can leave quickly. The curly-haired aristocratic Old Star urged. Hee. Roger smiled and took 2 steps back. My matter is over, now it's your turn to be the marshal. Marshal Orlando nodded. Orlando, do you want Marines' complete autonomy? Impossible. The old samurai star gritted his teeth. Don't worry, that's not what I want. I just hope that you can restrain the celestial dragons and never allow anyone to attack Marine and her family without permission in the future. I don't want the heroes who fought and sacrificed their lives for justice on the front line to return home. Okay, I agree with your request, but I also have a request. Regarding today's incident, no external news is allowed. The ancient five elders nodded again. Marshal Orlando nodded with satisfaction and agreed. If the world government wants decency, then give it to them. Any more? Roger looked at Nanos Marine. Old Carl and others all shook their heads. If they continue, those 5 old men may really go crazy. If there's no more, just go back. Roger waved to the 5 elders. Goodbye. Goodbye at %. Bald birthmark 5 elders blushed with anger, but he didn't dare to curse directly, he could only hold back the internal injuries in his heart. Until I watched Roger and the Marines leave and walk away. Why compromise? We are the highest power in the world. We should not compromise with them. The bald birthmark 5 elders went crazy. Today's situation happened too suddenly. If a conflict really breaks out, the consequences will be unimaginable. The blonde and golden bearded 5 elders said in a deep voice. Marshal Marine, the 3 generals, and hundreds of generals. This is the will of the entire Marine. We cannot afford to lose the entire Marine. The curly-haired aristocrat 5 elders opened his mouth quietly. But, is it possible to let them alone? Forget it, stop talking. The most ancient 5 elders have deep and mysterious eyes. The life of insects will not last until the end of this generation's Marines and the core character Shirayasha. No matter whether Marines or Impels are down, they are still in our hands after all. Time is exactly the thing we lack most. Also, the next time you train Marshal Marine, the most important quality is to be obedient and obey orders. See Circle Calendar 1534, Autumn. The unprecedented event in Mariajoy, the Holy Land, has come to an end. Chapter 74 Director Impel Down, Roger Chester, 2/5 Please subscribe. Advertise here. New World. There is a mobile island base that does not exist on any map. What a Shirayasha. Our defeat at your hands is not unjust. Darkness Uranus Beckett shook the red wine glass in his hand while reading the secret message report in his hand. What the report records is the unknown Mariajoy incident. Under the strict blockade of the world government. Except for the parties involved, not many people in the world know about it. But as the king of the dark world, Beckett found out by his own means. It's a pity. If we had added fuel to the flames 5 years ago and pushed that man completely to the opposite side of the world government, then the current situation might be different. Darkness Uranus Beckett sighed softly. Mr. Beckett, I will definitely become stronger in the future and take revenge on this white yaksha. Rox, a young boy with red hair standing on end like steel needles, spoke firmly. Then it all depends on you, Zebek. What follows is a new era that belongs to you. Yes, Mr. Beckett, I will work hard. The island of gods will be ours sooner or later. See Circle Calendar 1434. This is an era worthy of being recorded in history. Many events, big and small, took place. This year, the New World's 6 Kings of the Sea pattern was completely shattered. The remaining pirate forces have no climate. Marine gradually takes control of the sea. This year, the name of Impel Down White Yaksha spread to every corner of the sea. The hero Roger is famous across the sea. Also in this year, Marine Marshal Orlando wrote Vice Admiral 450 and Old Carl both retired. Marshal Orlando did not serve as the commander-in-chief of the world government's armed forces like previous marshals. Firstly, he doesn't want to be one, and secondly, the world government doesn't want him to be either. In the end, the position of commander-in-chief of the world government was held by the 65-year-old veteran Admiral Spruance. The position of Marine Marshal was given to the 55-year-old Admiral Cook. Although in this past year's war, Admiral Cook has repeatedly failed. But his contribution to Marine is also obvious to all. There is nothing wrong with holding the position of Marine Marshal. Also, Tia and several other rear admirals who performed well in the war were officially promoted to Naval Headquarters Vice Admirals. Congratulations, Tia Vice Admiral. Roger smiled and congratulated. Congratulations to you too, Director Roger. Tia smiled. Finally, it was also this year. Impel Down has undergone major personnel changes. Charles, the former deputy director, was removed from his post and disappeared. A new deputy director takes office. Former administrator Columbus retired. A new director takes office. Congratulations, Mr. Maka, from now on, you will be the deputy director of the prison. Roger, sorry and congratulations. Go, hurry up. Everyone is waiting. Deputy Director Maka had a dark face and cursed with an angry smile. Ha ha ha, please give me more advice in the future, Deputy Director Maka. Roger laughed loudly, CDFF, and boarded the auditorium on the first floor of the C. Please give me more advice, Director Roger. Deputy Director Maka grinned. I just feel that the previous happiness is back. From now on. He had a purpose again. As long as he can survive until Roger retires, then he will be the director of Impel Down. Thinking about it makes me a little excited. But how to survive until Roger retires is a big problem. After all, Roger was nearly 20 years younger than him. It's decided, we'll start to keep in good health scientifically from now on. Deputy Director Maka looked firm. Impel Down. The guards cheered one after another. Roger, from now on, you are the director of Impel Down, responsible for managing all important guests in the prison. I believe that with your words, the prison will be managed in an orderly manner. Director Columbus patted Roger on the shoulder to complete the handover of the director position. Roger took the Impel Down director's sign and raised his arms, and the audience burst into applause. It's not just the jailers who impel down. There are also 2 retired Marine veterans and an active Marine Vice Admiral. The handover ceremony is over. Next comes the celebration. The whole prison is celebrated. Even the prisoners were given more bread than usual. If you're lucky, you might even get a bone with shreds of meat hanging on it. After a day of carnival and celebration, under the orders of Roger, the new director, the large prison resumed its usual sophisticated operation. After handing over matters large and small to the deputy director who wants to maintain his health, Roger ignored Macaw's protest and fell into the ground floor with 2 retired Marine veterans, a retired Impel Down administrator and the young and beautiful Vice Admiral. Start making final modifications and improvements to the 6 forms. A week later, Roger, who was dizzy after being teased by the old men, was ready to go out to relax. He randomly chose a passage and walked to the end, pushing open the secret passage exit. He happened to meet a pair of sapphire-like eyes. Eyes facing each other. Roger refused to retreat. After a while, a tiny red cloud flew over the beautiful fair face of the owner of Sapphire Eyes. Congratulations, the new director of Impel Down. Snow Witch Esmeralda said congratulations. Now, you should be able to feel completely at ease. As long as I am here, no one can touch you. Roger assured with a smile. Can I take this as your confession? The Snow Witch blurted out. Roger, is this eldest sister confused after reading a novel? It's nothing. Don't think too much, I don't mean anything else. Esmeralda quickly turned her head. Quote. Nothing more was said. Roger pushed straight through the door and walked out. Looking at the retreating figure, the corner of his mouth raised a hint of self-deprecation. I am just a prisoner, what qualifications do I have for the beauty in the book? The Snow Witch sighed softly and laughed at herself. Leaving freezing hell, the 5th underground level. Roger arrived at the 6th underground floor with ease. Among the wardens' voices, Roger walks into eternal hell. Then, eternal hell, which was noisy just a second ago, suddenly fell silent. The old people, who knew the rules, all tacitly kept their mouths shut. He didn't even dare to take a breath. In contrast, the newcomers who didn't understand the rules couldn't help but burst out after a brief silence. Shirayasha, bastard brat, let Lousy out quickly. Black Sam the Sea Butcher and other newcomers roared and roared. Although the old people didn't say anything, their eyes revealed their inner thoughts. They eagerly wanted Roger, who became the director, to give the newcomers a unique baptism of eternal hell. Unfortunately, today they can't see it. Ignoring the provocations from Black Sam and others, Roger walked straight to the deepest part of eternal hell. Standing still in front of the cell of the Bard Grant, the strongest man in the world 40 years ago. Wow. The cell door opens. The heavy chains that bound Grant also fell. Only the last 2 pairs of seastone handcuffs and leg cuffs remain. Finally coming. The showdown between Shirayasha and that Grant. That old man is the only one who has never been beaten violently. This is natural, after all, that is the legendary Grant. Nani. It's that old man Grant. Is he still alive? Hey, Grant, don't lose your reputation as a legend. Beat that Shiro Yaksha to the ground, and then let's all escape from prison together. The prisoners were noisy. Bard Grant glanced at Roger in surprise. His inner thoughts are no different from those of other prisoners. Just think that Roger is floating. I want to use him as a training target. But look at the hospitality over the past 5 years. He will be gentler. Just when Grant was thinking this, Roger, however, had no intention of releasing the final restraints for him. Could it be that you want to bully me who can't use my abilities? Young people really don't care about martial ethics. Hey, Grant, why are you still lingering? Come here quickly and show you the good stuff. Roger smiled mysteriously. Chapter 75 Father and Daughter Meet. Grant and the Snow Witch. Open black lens bracket 3/5. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. 5th underground floor, freezing hell. The biting wind howled. Boy, why did you bring me here? It's so cold, but I still like it down there. Grant shook. There's so much nonsense, just come here. Besides, I'm afraid you will kneel down and beg me to let you stay here. There was a subtle arc at the corner of Roger's mouth. Grant. A few minutes later, through the freezing wind and snow, a forest cabin covered with snow appeared in the sight of the 2 people. Cottage courtyard. A woman with extraordinary beauty is carefully taking care of the cold-resistant plants. Listening to the footsteps coming from outside the courtyard, the Snow Witch's mind moved slightly and she turned her head. Seeing Roger, a slight hint of joy appeared on her pretty face that was always as cold as ice. But the next second, when I saw the little old man behind Roger, the look on her face suddenly turned cold. Unprecedentedly cold. Even the wind and snow on the 5 underground floors were violently blowing. The prisoners in each cell were as cold as grandchildren. Quote. Roger just had time to say a word. Then there was only a snapping sound. The Snow Witch has already entered the house. The door is closed. Hey. Roger took 2 steps forward and knocked on the door. Miss Witch, open the door. I am Director Roger, and I have a surprise for you this time. There was no movement at all. No matter what Roger said, the Snow Witch Esmeralda didn't react at all. How strange. Do you need to be so shy? Roger touched his chin and returned to the little old man who had been stunned for a long time. Grant, that was Esmeralda. Grant spoke the name with trembling lips. Hey, it's not bad, I recognized him at a glance. They are indeed father and daughter. Roger raised his eyebrows in surprise. Esmeralda, why is Esmeralda here? Grant's mood suddenly became excited. But it wasn't the excitement Roger expected from the father-daughter meeting. Asshole, boy, didn't you say you wouldn't arrest her? Why? I will fight with you. The little old man Grant's eyes turned red when he thought that his daughter would spend her whole life in this dark place for the next few years. Desperately trying to fight Roger. But he was restrained by seastone handcuffs. Naturally, he is far from Roger's opponent. He was subdued in a matter of seconds. Grant, I never promised you. Besides, your daughter came involuntarily. And do you think I treated her badly? Whose prisoner has meat every day, freedom, and a single family house to live in? Roger said. Grant's agitated emotions gradually calmed down. Just this once, it won't be an exception next time. If you dare to attack me as the director again, I will lock you in eternal hell for the rest of your life. You will never see my daughter again until you die. Anyway, I don't think Miss Witch really wants to meet your father. Roger threatened. Viciously. As expected, this sentence is very lethal to the little old man Grant. All of a sudden, it is made to stop cooking and mute the fire. Although he doesn't want his daughter to suffer in prison like him. But on the other hand, for the daughter I have never met. In his heart, he longed to meet. I am eager to talk to my daughter properly. Now, there is only one step away from the realization of the wish. If Roger really takes him back to eternal hell, I will never be able to see you again for the rest of my life. This taste will definitely drive him crazy. Sorry, Director Roger. Grant apologized. Is this right? Roger nodded with satisfaction. Let Grant stagger towards the cabin. Esmeralda, I'm really sorry, I am my father. Grant, the once invincible king across the sea, was choked with sobs. At this moment, he is just a father who feels infinite guilt for his daughter. Grant's confession to his daughter lasted a full hour. The Snow Witch inside the house never made any sound. Roger yawned. Okay, today's visiting hours are over, come back tomorrow. Roger announced. Grant opened his mouth, but in the end he didn't dare to say anything. Just taking one step and looking back 3 times, leaving the forehead with deep love. Until Roger and the two completely walked away. A slight sob came from the silent hut. The Snow Witch, who had always been arrogant and cold, was covering her mouth, trying not to cry. But tears still filled her eyes. He's still alive. He's actually still alive. The Snow Witch, who had seen Roger's shock fruit ability on Seacon Island, only thought that Grant was dead. But I never thought about it. Grant was alive and well throughout. This moment, after learning the fact that Grant is still alive. There was joy in her heart for no reason. Why? Obviously in the past 40 years. I have always hated my irresponsible father. He hated the father who had caused countless hardships to him and his mother. But now I know he is still alive. But he still couldn't stop crying with joy. This kind of thing is really weird. 6th underground floor, eternal hell. Roger sends Grant back to the cell. By the way, I picked a few thorns and gave them a lesson. Yeah, it's really hard to get these 2,000 points. Please give me flowers. Roger wiped the bloodline from his hands and left eternal hell. I thought that by allowing Grant to meet Miss Witch, I would gain points. But looking at this posture, he actually continues to act as the peacemaker for their father and daughter. What is this? Roger shook his head. I went to the director's office on the 4th basement floor and took a look around. Deputy Director McCaw is working hard. Roger didn't bother. Return to underground level 5.5. Hey, Roger is back. What are you going to do? Former Marshal Orlando asked with a smile. Could it be that you are going on a date with your little lover? This is not good, Xiaoya has just left. Old Carl had a subtle expression on his old face. Go, I won't cultivate. Roger's face darkened. The next day, still the same time, same location. Roger brought the energetic and high-spirited little old man Grant to the cabin. Ahem. Grant cleared his throat. He took out the notebook given to him by Roger 5 years ago. Start singing. The feelings, longing, and guilt for my daughter and wife. Expressed through poetry. Puff. Roger squirted out all the hot tea that had just reached his mouth. Bard Grant. He really knows how to read poetry. And this poem seems to be pretty good. Roger wasn't the only one attracted to Grant's poetry. There were also 3 old guys tiptoeing around. At some point. Just when Grant's emotions were at their highest. Grant, it's really you, old guy. I heard your sour verses from all the way. Former Marshals Orlando, Carl Sr. and Columbus came in stride. Carl, Orlando, go, stay out of the way. Grant's face darkened. Ha ha ha. Old Carl laughed heartily. Already know the reason why Grant is here. So that's it, the Snow Witch is Grant's daughter. After hearing Orlando's explanation, Columbo nodded suddenly. Then his eyes lit up. Be interested in the emotional drama between Grant and his daughter. Ever since, Impel Down has one more daily activity. Specific times of day, Grant would read poetry in front of the cabin. That time, Roger, Carl Lau, Orlando and Columbus sat in rows on the small bench. Drink tea and eat melon seeds, and become a qualified melon eater. Wait and watch the ending of this father-daughter emotional drama. If so, after 3 months, the cold door to the Snow Witch's room and heart finally opened. Complete Grant's obsession. Congratulations on getting plus 1000 free attribute points, plus 1000 Devil Fruit development points. Chapter 76 The End of an Era. Open black lens bracket 4/5. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. 2 years. Gone in a flash. During these 2 years, Marine, under the leadership of Marshal Cook, is full of momentum. Several new forces who wanted to take over the Six Kings were eliminated one after another. Seahai and Grand Line ushered in the most peaceful period in the past century. Roger spends most of his time Impel Down, accompanying 3 elderly people to do research on the 6 poses. From time to time, under the resentful gaze of Deputy Director Macaw, I would go to the director's office to do a favor and handle some official business. Macaw Impel Down. I didn't become the director, but my job as director didn't fail at all. The other side, we met every day for 2 years. The father-daughter emotional column between Grant and the Snow Witch has a happy ending. Under Grant's 2 years of non-stop poetry, the Snow Witch's frozen heart completely melted. Roger was really impressed. At the same time, I can't help but think. The little old man Grant probably used this trick to capture the hearts of countless, 260, girls before. Even Miss Witch's mother might have been deceived in this way. What an old scumbag. Opportunity to learn 2 tricks. Another year has passed by in a hurry. Ha 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 ha, it's finally done. Old Carl's laughter echoed on the 5.5th floor of Impel Down for a long time. It lasted 8 years. The 6 forms that even ordinary sailors can practice have finally been completely completed. With these 6 moves, Marine and the power of justice will surely reach a higher level. This is a huge achievement worthy of being recorded in history. Marshal Orlando held the secret book with excitement on his face, and his hands could not stop shaking slightly, as if he were holding a Bible. The same day, Marshal Cook hurriedly put down his work and came to Impel Down in person. Received the Bible from Marshal Orlando. Mr. Carl, Mr. Orlando, Mr. Columbus and Roger, history will remember your achievements. Thank you very much. Marshal Cook bowed with excitement on his face. Marshal Cook was sent away. Old Carl and the other 3 have no intention of returning to the 5.5th floor. After 3 years of bothering you, it's time for us to go out for a walk. Orlando laughed. After spending most of my life in Impel Down, I am going to visit the places I have been to before for a long time. I will leave Impel Down to you, Roger. Former Administrator Columbus nodded. Really? Are you leaving now? Roger looked reluctant. Ha ha ha, brother Roger, stop pretending. In fact, you have wanted us to leave for a long time. With the 3 of us old guys here, you and Xiaoya will no longer be able to live together. Old Carl laughed. Master Carl. Vice Admiral Tia's pretty face suddenly turned as red as an apple. Ha ha ha. The 3 old men laughed together. Okay, no need to send it off, let's go. Accompanied by the afterglow of the setting sun, the figures of the 3 old people gradually faded away. Let's go back. Roger looked at Tia in his arms and smiled slightly. Tia nodded shyly. And then, no distractions from old light bulbs. Roger and Tia came to a 3-day world together after a long absence. 3 days later, Tia leaves. Roger received a look of resentment from Deputy Director Macaw. Ha ha. Roger laughed and came to eternal hell. And not surprisingly, he received a resentful look from Grant. He also hasn't seen his daughter for 3 days. Empty snowfield. Those 3 old guys are gone. Grant suddenly asked. Well, let's travel around the world. Roger answered. Very nice. Don't even think about it. I never thought about it, but now this is my world. Grant grinned. Efforts in speaking. The cabin in the woods has arrived. Door. A frozen woman who is over 40 and still looks like a 20-year-old girl is looking forward to it. Seeing Roger and Grant arriving, a smile appeared on the woman's pretty face. Dad, Roger, the Snow Witch is no longer as cold as before. He stepped forward happily to welcome the men back. 2 hours later, the time for father and daughter to reminisce is over. Roger, what's up? Seriously, you really have no idea about my daughter. Do you think I have any ideas? I think we can. After I die, I hope that a reliable man can accompany her for the rest of her life. If possible, I also want to meet my grandson and granddaughter before I die. That would be really great. Stop. Roger quickly stopped. At this time, the system detects Grant's new obsession. Witness your daughter finding a good home, such as host, and you will be rewarded with a golden legend. Quote. Return Grant to his cell. Roger returns to freezing hell. Unconsciously, I came to Miss Witch's courtyard. Roger, why are you back? Esmeralda asked in surprise. Nothing, just looking around. Roger said casually. Sudden. The system's obsession detection issued another reminder. The witch lady who has never had a favorite man in 43 years wants to have a romantic relationship, such as host, which will reward free attribute points plus 1000, devil fruit development points plus 1000. Damn it, as expected of a father and daughter. This is my plan. Are you ready to go out? As the director of Impel Down, I will never give into this mere few thousand points and golden legend. One night 3 months later. Congratulations to the host for completing Miss Witch's obsession, and will be rewarded with plus 1000 free attribute points and plus 1000 devil fruit development points. Congratulations to host for completing Grant's obsession and being rewarded with the golden legendary Conqueror's entanglement. He held a beautiful woman who was as cold as ice in his arms. The system's beep echoed in my mind. Roger only has one thought at this moment, it smells so good. Roger, thank you, now I have no regrets in my life. Also, I'm very happy that the person I fell in love with for the first time is you. The Snow Witch Esmeralda snuggled into Roger's arms and thanked him softly. We are already like this, how can we say thank you? Roger smiled. Don't worry, I'll talk to Tia. And then. Roger was scolded. 3 whole months. Vice Admiral Tia didn't come back to Impel Down. Another 3 months. Relying on the experience taught by the old scumbag Grant. Roger successfully settled the feud with Vice Admiral Tia. The days passed. The sea is as peaceful as ever. Impel Down's business has also become much easier. Roger goes out several times a year. No warship ride. Just a swim from the calm belt. 2.2 Find the special lantern fish hidden in the corner of this world. Unfortunately, nothing was found. Occasionally, Roger would also pay attention to Uranus Beckett, the last corner of the 6 kings, to be precise, the whereabouts of the young rocks. Unfortunately, nothing was found either. After that battle, Beckett hid himself and his career in the deepest part of the world, never showing up. He even bribed the world government with a large amount of heavenly gold so that Marine would no longer pursue the case. Year after year, in the blink of an eye, another 7 years have passed. See Circle Calendar 1444, Spring. Roger received a call from Carl, whom he hadn't seen for a year. Former Marshal Orlando and former Administrator Columbus suddenly fell ill and died suddenly at the age of 88 while traveling. Sitting on the highest point of the dome on the first floor of Impel Down. Watching the sunset slowly sinking on the horizon. Roger knew. An era has come to an end. Chapter 77 A new era has begun. Open black lens bracket 5/5 Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Naval Headquarters, General Hospital. How's the situation? Brother Carl fell down just because he said it. Roger spoke anxiously. Roger, Mr. Carl, Mr. Carl. Vice Admiral Tia burst into tears. Uncle, Grandpa has actually been holding on for a while. After dealing with Grandpa Orlando and the others, he was relieved. The 25-year-old young man had a blank look on his face. Roger, I heard Brother Roger's voice. Is Brother Roger here? Old Carl's weak voice came from the ward. He used to be able to laugh no matter what he encountered. Now I don't even have the strength to laugh. Brother Carl. Roger quickly walked into the ward, looking at the extremely thin old man on the ward. His nose was sore and his eyes were slightly red. Woo. Vice Admiral Tia covered her mouth, tears falling uncontrollably. Don't cry, Xiaoya. We are all mortal. When I was young, I sailed across the sea happily. When I am old, I can still meet such a great friend as Roger. I have no regrets in my life. Old Carl said calmly. Oh, no, I still have regrets. Brother Carl, if you have any unfulfilled wishes, please tell me. Roger held old Carl's big hand. Brother Roger, I was the one who initially brought you and Xiaoya together. The wedding banquet was barely considered a drink, but over the years, not just me, but also Orlando and Columbus, they are all waiting for a hug. Your children, old Carl said. The expressions on Roger and Tia's faces were stagnant. Ha ha ha, old Carl, who finally teased Roger, laughed with the last joy of his life. 23. See Circle Calendar 1444, Spring. Marine's last legendary veteran of the past era, Carl, is alive. He died at the age of 90. All generals, commanders, and sailors at Naval Headquarters are all wearing uniforms. Escort veteran General Carl to the headquarters cemetery and rest together with former Marshal Orlando. This day, Roger steps on moonwalk. Go straight all the way to the islands of Sabayati. Captured more than 500 pirates and 1 celestial dragons. This day, Holy Land Mariajoy. 5 of the world's most powerful men opened a bottle of 300-year-old wine. Orlando, Columbus and Carl, the 3 old guys from the last era are gone. Come on, let's toast together. Cheers. Boom. 5 elders. The anxious shouts of world government officials sounded from outside the door. What happened again? Report. Lord 5 Elders, Celestial Dragons Taruta was captured by Impel Down Director Roger on the Sabayati Islands, and is now being escorted back to the big prison. What did you say? It's contrary. It's really contrary. Get the person back, and forget about the rest first, shouted the oldest of the 5 elders with the longest hair and beard. What do you mean? Forget it. If he dares to capture the celestial dragons this time, he will dare to break into the Holy Land again next time. A lifetime of insects will last forever. The oldest 5 elders reiterated their words from 10 years ago. That night, Impel Down 5.5 floors underground. If you want to cry, just cry. Vice Admiral Tia held Roger in her arms and comforted him softly. Why don't you tell me about your past with Dr. Carl? The Snow Witch Esmeralda sat on the other side of Roger. A cold, delicate hand gently brushed across Roger's face. Roger couldn't cry. I don't want to tell a story either. Lifespan theory has always been a concern for him. The important people around me are getting older. Only he can live for a long, long time. That's why. Over the years, he has been aimlessly searching for the lanternfish king that hides a large amount of pure gold. That's why. He never wanted to leave any descendants. Because I am afraid of watching my daughter grow old and die little by little. Everything will pass, go to sleep. Amidst the whispers, the 3 of them cuddled up and slept. The next day, when Roger woke up, there is only the witch lady by my side. Vice Admiral Tia has returned. Had a simple breakfast. Roger came to the 5th floor above ground. The cabin that originally belonged to Esmeralda. Today it is occupied by Grant. Roger, sit down and talk. Grant waved as if he were an old man. Orlando, Columbus and Carl are all gone. In our generation, it turns out that I, the evil party, have survived the longest. Is this a scourge that will last for thousands of years? It seems that I can still survive. Cough, cough, cough. Grant coughed violently. He was also 90 years old, and his health was deteriorating. If it weren't for Roger's years as warden, give him good food and drink again. I'm afraid Grant would have died 10 years earlier. I hope you live longer. Roger said. Ha ha ha, I am a disaster, I will not die too early. Grant laughed. 3 months later. Cough, 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 cough. The infirmary on the 5.5th floor underground. Grant fell on the hospital bed, the fire of life dimmed. Dad. The Snow Witch Esmeralda held Grant's rough hand and burst into tears. Just like the beginning of spring. Don't cry, Icy, I have no regrets about being able to see you in this life. Grant smiled reluctantly. Suddenly, he changed the subject. There is still some regret. I don't know if I heard old Carl's last words. My only regret is that I didn't get to see my grandson. Roger, you are so disappointing. Finish this sentence. The strongest man in the world 50 years ago closed his eyes. ... Impel Down the death of a prisoner. Naturally, it can't be as grand as old Carl's. Only Vice Admiral Tia came after hearing the news. Comforting Esmeralda, who lost her blood relative. In accordance with Grant's wishes, Roger took his body to blazing hell for cremation. Then we came to the highest point on the sea level. Scatter his ashes into the sea. Grant's wish was that Roger's ashes could be scattered around the world, in Grand Line Park and New World. But Roger said it was like dismembering a body. Anyway, this sea will definitely be connected in the future. It's the same no matter where it's sprinkled. Grant accepted. So Roger dropped him directly. The sunset on the horizon has completely set. Roger sat on the dome for a long time. The old people of the old days have pretty much gone. The trendsetters of the new era are gradually coming to this world. The future Marshal Sengoku is already 1 year old. Future Marine hero, Pluton Rayleigh, was also born in East Blue. Others born in the same year include Golden Lion Shiki, Red Earl. One Piece Roger will not be born until next year. And Zephyr, Crane, Grant's successor Whitebeard. The heroes of the next generation are about to step onto the stage of history. The prelude to a magnificent new era has begun. Let's go back. Roger patted his face and returned to floor 5.5. Miss Witch has fallen into a deep sleep. Tia sat in front of the dressing mirror. Looking at myself in the mirror with a wrinkle at the corner of my eye, I couldn't help but sigh. How about it, my Tia Vice Admiral? Roger greeted with a smile. We are all old, only you and Dia looked at the sleeping witch lady. I really envy you, you can never age. Who says we won't grow old? Look at my and Icy's hair, it's pure white. Roger pointed to his and Miss Witch's silver hair. Vice Admiral Tia rolled her eyes charmingly. Aren't you born with silver hair? Ha ha ha, don't worry, it will definitely work. One day a year later. Roger received a tip from the underground intelligence world and left Impel Down urgently. 1 month later, there was a battle for an ancient ruin in New World 007. 3 more days. Somewhere in the New World. Roger holds the fishing rod and waits patiently. But wait until the sun goes down. Still no fish bit the hook. Well, Roger sighed softly. Lift the fishing rod. What is tied to the fishing line is not a bait, but a piece of pure gold that shines with a special luster. Roger originally wanted to use this small piece of pure gold picked up from the ruins as a guide to catch lanternfish. As a result, the lanternfish hiding a large amount of pure gold was sleeping or something. For 3 days, he remained unmoved. Forget it, I can barely get 2 rings. Roger sets out to return. Late at night a week later. Roger came to Naval Headquarters quietly. Sneak into Vice Admiral Tia's office silently. Are you still busy so late? Roger spoke. Roger. Vice Admiral Tia was startled. When did you come? I heard that you left Impel Down a month ago. Where did you go this time? Humph. Roger said nothing. Just pull out a nice box. Snap. The box opens. The golden pure gold ring came into Tia's eyes. Woo. Tia subconsciously covered her mouth. Like it? Roger asked. Tia nodded heavily. I'll put it on for you. Roger put a solid gold ring on Tia's ring finger. The two petals of pink blocked Roger's next words. It is more than words. Wow. The sound of the ocean tide comes in waves. In the office, documents are flying. Early the next morning, Roger returns to Impel Down. When putting another solid gold ring on Miss Witch's ring finger. No surprises. Roger enjoyed the burning passion from the cold witch lady. Chapter 78 Overlord. Kong. Charlotte Linlin. Open black lens bracket 1/5. Please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. See Circle Calendar 1459, Autumn. The cool breeze brings the breath of the sea. New World, the land of giants. A coastal island not far from the Elbaf warrior village. One wore a floral headscarf and a floral dress. The little girl, who is more than 3 meters tall and aged 15 years, holds her cheek in her hand. His eyes were shining, and he stared unblinkingly at the sizzling and fragrant barbecue in front of him. Don't worry, Gerd, just wait a moment. Roger smiled slightly and gently touched the little girl's blonde hair. Of course, an ordinary human being who is 20 years old cannot be called a little girl. But if it is a giant race, 20 years old is still infancy. A blonde girl named Gerd. Similar in size to Roger. But she is still a very young girl among the giants. Certainly, even if they were of similar physique, Roger would not be interested in a young girl. Just the past 2 months, Roger has been grilling sea kings down here on the coast. I also know the soldiers from Elbaf warrior village. Of course, the giant warriors will know Roger White Yasha. Especially the giants who stayed at Impel Down. For Roger, that was quite impressive. 2 months ago, I learned about Roger's arrival. Except for the transvestite Mori who went out and disappeared without a trace. The other 3 giants were all happy and jumped 3 feet high. He quickly gave Roger some Elbaf's wine in an attentive manner. In return, when Roger is grilling sea kings, he will also send 1 or 2 to the warrior village. With the masterful cooking skills of Roger IV4, the food cooked on the barbecue is naturally much more delicious than the chefs in the warrior village. Back and forth, Roger also formed a profound friendship with the giants in the warrior village. Especially Gerd and other giant warriors, they like hanging around Roger the most. Because the probability of eating delicious barbecue is much higher. Well, it's almost done. At a certain moment, Roger nodded, and the barbecue had reached the optimal heat. He raised his hand and a large sea king skewer flew up. Gerd, take it and share it with everyone. Roger said. Yes, Mr. Roger, and thank you. The young blonde giant girl Gerd wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth, happily carried the barbecue, and looked for Hire and other partners who were training. Roger took his time and put the second portion of sea kings on the grill. Thumping. There are newspaper birds flying across the sky with fluttering wings. Roger flicked his finger. A coin fell exactly into the newspaper bird's pocket. The newspaper delivery bird was also unambiguous, and immediately handed the latest newspaper and reward order to Roger's hand. Rocks D. Zebek. As expected, today's headline is still Rocks. 25 years have passed since the big incident on Sycan Island. Rocks, who was once a 10-year-old boy, has fully grown up and gradually revealed his courage as the overlord of the sea. In fact, as early as 10 years ago, the 25-year-old Rocks shocked the world in one battle. The first bounty was a terrifying 200 million berry. Now 35 years old, Rocks has a bounty all over the ocean. With a reward of 1.5 billion, he ranks among the top in the sea. Even in the Six Kings era 30 years ago, he could still be ranked in the top 3. And this is far from his peak. Shao Kong, you are still far behind. Roger looked at another page of the newspaper. That was a report about Marine Kong Admiral. 25 years. Enough for another internal update of Marine. As early as 5 years ago, Marshal Cook resigned from the position of Marshal. 60-year-old Admiral Raymond serves as the new Marine Marshal. The person who succeeded Raymond as Admiral was Sora, who had been trained by Roger and Carl Lau since childhood. After 20 years of traveling across the sea, the once young Kong perfectly inherited his grandfather's steel fist and gained the title of Kong. Kong Admiral's name makes countless pirates afraid of him. In contrast, the other 2 Marine Admirals of this era were much inferior. If it were in the past, I'm afraid they would all be defeated by Eric the Red Devil in one move. Times make heroes. After all, this sea is too comfortable now. Raymond, who could have competed for the title of the strongest admiral in history, has never been able to use it because of this comfortable world. Just an ordinary promotion, 10 pulls that cannot leave a strong mark in history. Even Thunder Fruit's ability is almost useless. Born at the wrong time. Also because it is too comfortable. Nowadays, Marine is already in a state of turmoil. There are not many mainstays who can take the lead. But because of the comprehensive promotion of 6 styles, the combat power of the lower level Marines is quite impressive. It's just a low-level combat power that has no meaning in front of Rox, the overlord of the sea who is about to dominate the new world. But Roger won't be too worried. Not to mention that he was holding the battle from behind. The proud men of this era will almost all be on the stage of the sea. Marine hero Garp. One Piece Roger. I'm really looking forward to it. Roger crumpled the newspaper into a ball and threw it into the fire. East Blue Roger Town and Goa Kingdom Windmill Village. He had been there 9 years ago. Roger and Garp have also met. They are relatively easy to find. Same. Roger is here now. Just for the third acquaintance, who is relatively easy to find. At the same time, it is also to fulfill the promise made 30 years ago. Boom, boom, boom. Heavy footsteps came. 2 giants, one fat and one thin, came from far away. Mr. Roger, the coast has been patrolled and nothing special was found. Eni's lobby gatekeeping. Giants Cassie and Oimo report. Thanks for your hard work. Roger thanked him for his hard work and threw the 2 skewers of barbecue to the 2 giants. The giants took it excitedly, sat down and feasted. Oimo, as expected, I am still very worried about the leader and the others. Why don't we go to sea to look for them? But, the giant Cassie looked at Roger sincerely. Don't be afraid, as long as you don't do evil things and rob civilians, I won't stop you from going out to sea, Jouda. Roger said. Real. Very good. By the way, I'll give you a suggestion, try to find it in front of the Grand Line. Roger said. Okay, Mr. Roger, we've taken note of it. The 2 giants nodded in agreement. The days passed. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. Roger still runs a self-service delicious barbecue in the coastal reef area. The sun rises high. At some point, a merchant ship appeared on the sparkling sea. On a merchant ship, a fat girl, about 5 years old, over 3 meters tall, and weighing more than 1,000 pounds, danced happily. Hey, Dad, Mom, are there really delicious cakes on that island? The big fat girl looked forward to it. Yes, Linlin, you will have delicious cake. Ordinary parents nod. Wow, the waves carried merchant ships to the Elbaf Reef. Chapter 79 The Girl Who Traveled Through Time and Space. Tianyushi open black lens bracket please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Hey, Dad, Mom, where are you going? Linlin wants to come too. The 5-year-old fat girl blinked her innocent eyes. Linlin, be good, Dad and Mom will help you buy delicious cakes. Before Mom and Dad come back, Linlin, use these snacks to deal with them, we will be back soon. The middle-aged couple held back tears and comforted them. Delicious cake. That's fine, but Mom and Dad, you must come back soon. Linlin will eat up all these snacks soon. The 5-year-old fat girl Charlotte Linlin nodded innocently. Taking advantage of her daughter's break to eat. The middle-aged couple helped each other and left. Quietly board the merchant ship and leave Elbaf. From beginning to end. They are not here to take their daughter to eat delicious cakes. I just want to abandon my monster daughter. My dear, are you really okay now? Linlin is only 5 years old. That's good. In the giant country, Linlin will be able to eat as much as he wants. I pity the hearts of parents in the world. If not, there is no way. They also don't want to abandon their biological daughter ruthlessly. They were just ordinary people, but they gave birth to a monster. Starting after Charlotte Linlin was born. They have always been criticized and criticized by people around them. Even so, the middle-aged couple still didn't care at all. Because that's their daughter. If even they don't love 170, who else will? Just as time goes by, Charlotte Linlin is growing up day by day. The food intake and body size are getting bigger day by day. Charlotte's family, which was originally a wealthy family, was gradually ruined. Their earning speed cannot afford Linlin's daily diet. If that's the case, they can tighten their belts and continue to work hard to make money. Just a month ago, that happened. They had to send their daughter away. Just because I didn't get the cake I wanted. At the age of 5, Charlotte Linlin's syphoria was triggered for the first time. In her mania, she relied on her natural power to destroy an entire street. There were heavy casualties. Even Marine was alarmed. This happened. Ordinary people like them no longer have the courage to continue raising Linlin. With the advice and help of others, they finally decided to take their daughter to the land of giants. End this nightmare. It's delicious. Although the snacks are delicious. But there will be more delicious cakes later. On the shore of the island, the fat girl Charlotte Linlin was happily eating snacks. Little did they know that their parents had already gone away. Another island a few hundred meters away. Roger is still grilling sea kings. His eyes were fixed on the merchant ship that was getting further away in the distance. Abandoning one's children is one of the worst acts in the world. But he would not criticize the middle-aged couple too much for their decision. Half an hour. 1 hour. The mountain of snacks stacked in front of 5-year-old Charlotte Linlin gradually bottomed out and emptied. I'm full. I'm full. I haven't eaten so freely for a long time. 5-year-old Linlin rubbed her belly and got up with satisfaction. Speaking of which, where are Mom and Dad? Why haven't Mom and Dad come back yet? Didn't they agree to buy me a cake? 5-year-old Linlin sat down on the shore. Biting my thumb, waiting for the return of my parents. An hour, 2 hours. 5-year-old Linlin, who had never been away from her parents for such a long time, finally couldn't hold back and cried loudly. Crying and crying. I'm hungry again. Mr. Roger, there seems to be some movement over there. The young blonde giant girl Gerd pointed to the other side curiously. Don't worry, Gerd, the barbecue is almost ready. Roger smiled slightly. Golden roasted meat, sizzling with oil. The wonderful aroma is carried far away by the sea breeze. Smell it for the crying 5-year-old Linlin. Sniff. 5-year-old Linlin stopped crying and turned her nose up. Smell good. Attracted by the wonderful aroma, 5-year-old Linlin took small steps unconsciously. Get closer to the source of the aroma step by step. Not long after. Hey, look at Mr. Roger, there is a child over there, let me tell you there is movement. Giant girl Gerd's eyes lit up. Roger smiled slightly and was noncommittal. The sound of the two talking to each other also woke up 5-year-old Linlin, who was immersed in the fragrance. That, Gu. 5-year-old Linlin's index fingers on her left and right hands moved uneasily. Not a word could come out. In the end, her stomach spoke for her. If you're hungry, just sit down and eat together. Roger said. Oh, is it really possible? Thank you, big brother. CDAD. 5-year-old Linlin sat down happily. At this time, the grill is done. Roger immediately gave Gerd and little Linlin a string each. The two little girls ate so much that their mouths were full of oil. Full of wine and food. Gerd, who was good at being anxious, started talking to Linlin. But he didn't say a few words. As for that ship, I saw it earlier and they have already decided. 1 inch. Gerd spoke upright. What did you say? Have dad and mom left? How is that possible? Don't they want Linlin anymore? 5-year-old Linlin burst into tears. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Gerd waved his hands hurriedly, wanting to comfort him, but for a moment he didn't know what to do. What should I do? What should I do, Mr. Roger? Finally, Gerd looked to Roger for help. Then just wait here, Roger said. 1 day, 2 days. Another week has passed in the blink of an eye. The merchant ship never came back. 5-year-old Linlin finally accepted the fact that she was abandoned. It's all Linlin's fault. Linlin ate too much and got into big trouble. That's why dad and mom don't want Linlin anymore. Linlin is a bad boy. Wrong. Roger's voice awakened little Linlin from sadness and self-blame. Grandpa Roger, Xiaoling, if you don't mind, would you like to come with me from now on? Roger smiled. Oh, is it really possible? But Linlin eats a lot and sometimes destroys it unconsciously, causing trouble for everyone. 5-year-old Linlin twitched her index finger uneasily. This kind of thing is not a problem at all for me. Roger shook his head firmly. Such a big Impel Down is more than enough to support a big eater. No matter how bad it was, just deducting some food from the prisoners would be enough for Linlin to eat. As for thinking about food cravings, we need to find ways to solve and control it. Grandpa Roger, are you really willing to take Linlin with you? If Linlin makes you angry, will you be like your parents? Absolutely not. No matter what happens, I will never abandon you, unless Xiaoling wants to leave. Roger said firmly. Very good. Successfully adopted 5-year-old Linlin. Roger's 3-month trip in Elbaf also came to an end. Are you really leaving? The young giant girl Gerd burst into tears with a look of reluctance. If you don't want to part with it, would you like Gerd to come too? Roger said casually. This and that. Gerd was a little embarrassed. Ha. Let's go to sea together when Gerd becomes a big girl. Roger smiled. Make a pact with the giant's young daughter. Roger took little Linlin on the boat and drifted away under the reluctant eyes of the giant warriors. Because of Linlin, a foodie, the return trip cannot be too fast. You need to stop at various islands on the way to replenish food. 1 day a week later, Roger landed on an uninhabited island. Haven't had time to log in yet. Cemetery. He had a thought. Observation hockey captured the commotion on the other side of the island. A group of vicious pirates are hunting a young girl. The girl has beautiful long light green hair and is wearing a standard kimono. She is Tianxi, a girl who can travel through time. Chapter 80. The most special ability. Paramesha always bears fruit. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Dusk, sunset, beach, waves. There is also a girl and dozens of vicious pirates. There is never anything new under the sun. What is happening here now is still the same old story, pirate robbery. Don't lie to me, you have no intention of taking me to Wanokuni. Wearing a kimono, the girl with long light green hair clenched the katana in her hand, frowning coldly, and scolded sternly. Ha. Exposed. Wanokuni. What is that? I've never heard of it. What we value from the beginning to the end is your value. If a beautiful woman like you can be sent to the auction house, she will definitely cause a huge sensation. The final auction price was even higher than that of the mermaid, 70 million, no, 100 million belly. It's really exciting. The strange-looking pirates shouted excitedly. The look he looked at the kimono girl was full of greed. Hey, Captain, this little girl is really naughty. Why don't we teach her the rules first? A scar-faced pirate monkey spoke anxiously. Idiot, if she is played with, the value of this woman will be greatly reduced. Why do you think we have endured until now? Even the captain has endured it. What do you want to do? When I get the money, I can have as many women as I want. The other pirates scolded one after another. As expected, you are also the same as the people of the eras I have experienced so far. The kimono girl gritted her silver teeth. Woman, stop struggling pointlessly. If possible, we don't want to hurt you. The captain of the Black Fox pirates smiled slyly. The girl in kimono didn't speak again. She looked up at the sky. Sure enough, this is not the era I want to go to. Let's continue flying to the future. While the girl in kimono was thinking this, a faint light shone on her delicate body. It seems vaguely accompanied by the flying fragments of time. That's her ability. Paramesha always bears the power. So far, it is not said to be the strongest in the world of pirates, but it is definitely the most special and buggy ability. Rely on this ability to always bear fruit. A girl named Tianyu Toki flew from a distant 800 years ago to the present. And she is about to travel further into the future. However, just when the girl's body was about to be completely wrapped in time fragments, only a loud bang was heard. Two tall figures suddenly descended from the sky. It landed on the beach, causing the earth to tremble. The girl Tianyu was shocked by the sudden change. Subliminal suspension of the fruit ability from time to time. He looked at the two figures in front of him curiously. The Black Fox pirates who originally surrounded her were now on their backs. Ahem. What happened? Something fell. Hey, look, it's two people. A man and a child. But that kid is so big. Now, let me tell you, it's really despicable for so many people to bully one person. Little Linlin put his hands on his hips and pointed at the pirates, with a strong sense of justice. Listening to little Linlin's milky voice scolding her. Everyone in the Black Fox group was stunned for a moment. Then he couldn't help laughing loudly. Been at sea for so many years. This was the first time they encountered a child who dared to scold them. Captain, what to do? Is there any need to say that? Kill them. No need to show mercy even to a brat. But is such a big kid a giant? If so, it can be sold at a good price. Well, then it's decided, the kid and the woman will stay, and the man will be chopped off. The pirates discussed and made a decision. He approached Roger, little Linlin and Tianyushi with ill intentions. What should we do? Do we want to take them to the future with us? Tianyushi clenched her fists tightly, and there was a war between heaven and man in her heart. She was always kind, so she would not leave Roger alone at this time. But on the other hand, there was another voice in Tianyushi's heart telling her to wait. No matter how you look at the silver-haired man in front of you, he is not simple. That, Tianyushi was just about to speak. Wow, what should I do? What should I do, Grandpa Roger? Those fierce-looking people are coming. Little Linlin, who looked like a chivalrous girl not long ago, is now a little timid. No matter how talented she is still just a 5-year-old girl who is inexperienced in the world. The Black Fox pirates have a bounty of 60 million berries. It's no big deal, it's okay. Roger waved his hand carelessly. What did you say? Please give me flowers. Everyone in the Black Fox group was furious. Roger seemed unaware. Xiaoling, I will leave this sister to you to protect me. You can teach those vicious adults not to use knives or guns. Huh, me. Little Linlin was stunned. Are you going to let a child fight? Tien Yushi was also shocked. My impression of Roger plummeted. No matter how weak she is, she will never let her child stand in front of her. Tianyushi clenched her silver teeth, almost ready to take action. However, the knife was firmly grasped by Roger's ruthless iron hand, unable to move at all. Is this guy a friendly force or an enemy? Tien Yushi was about to cry. At this time, asshole, you actually look down on me so much. I will definitely make you pay the price. Enraged by Roger's slight, the Black Fox pirates swarmed over. This is the result of underestimating our Black Fox group. Dozens of knives came towards Roger in unison. Dama. Roger was about to be attacked. Little Linlin, who was shrinking in panic a second ago, suddenly opened her arms. The fight is Dahada. Little Linlin closed her eyes and clapped her little hands repeatedly. Bang bang bang. The dull sound of flesh colliding was endless. Any pirate caught by little Linlin's little hand. Without exception, they all turned into meteors, crashed into big trees, smashed into rocks, or fell into rock walls, and were seriously injured and fell into coma. Even the captain of the Black Fox regiment has a bounty of 60 million. Even if he was not careful, he was shot several hundred meters away by Linlin. Weird. Monster. Monster. Shoot. Shoot. The frightened pirates screamed. The sound of gunfire suddenly broke out. However, the blow on little Linlin's body was unable to break even a layer of skin. This is Charlotte Linlin's super talent. Her natural steel balloon body makes her invulnerable. Well, Linlin is angry and told us not to fight. Little Linlin puffed up her face angrily. Step forward against the hail of bullets. He slapped the pirates to the ground one by one. Seeing this, the remaining members of the Black Fox group couldn't muster any fighting spirit. He decisively abandoned his companions and fled to hide in the dense forest of the island. Ah, this child. Tianyushi's beautiful eyes widened, and she wanted to say something intermittently, but in the end she couldn't say anything. Chapter 81 Feet Momonosuke Must Die. Plan. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Crackling. A bright bonfire lights up the night. Wow. A small hill suddenly rose up from the sea. A huge thing emerged from the sea. It was a 300-meter Sea Kings, and it was already unconscious. Roger, who was naked from the waist up, pulled Sea Kings ashore. Wow, Grandpa Roger is so awesome. 5-year-old Linlin's eyes lit up and she jumped for joy. The fire was raised so quickly. Xiaoling is also very good. Roger touched little Linlin's head as a sign of encouragement. The cold light shines under the night sky. Roger raised the knife and dropped it. Sea Kings separated from flesh and blood. Soon it was divided into uniform pieces of meat. The chef's knife skills are at a glance. This person is indeed no ordinary person. The kimono girl Tenzuki holds her knees, looking at Roger's back as he wields the knife. Look at those distinct muscles. For a moment, I couldn't help but be fascinated. Sister, the barbecue is about to start. Little Linlin's voice woke up the girl Tian Yushi. I'm here to help too. Tian Yushi quickly stood up and helped pierce the meat. 617. Sister, let me tell you, Grandpa Roger's craftsmanship is very good, and the barbecue is so fragrant. Linlin loses a lot of buds every time. Little Linlin spoke happily. This is really exciting. Tianyu smiled. Quickly, golden and crispy Sea King's barbecue comes out of the oven. The aroma hits your nose instantly. It smells really good. I'm going to start it. During the sky and the moon, put your hands together and pray for a moment. Then he cut off a piece of barbecue with a knife and ate it elegantly. Feel the fragrant fragrance that suddenly spreads in your mouth. Tianyushi's eyes lit up. Delicious. A look of extreme joy appeared on the girl's face. What kind of barbecue is this? This is the first time I have eaten such delicious barbecue. Tianyushi was amazed again and again. If you like it, eat more. Roger smiled slightly. Immediately afterwards, the second piece of barbecue was delivered to Tianyu. Sister, you have to go south with barbecue in one bite. As he spoke, little Linlin bit off a large piece of bone and meat with a look of satisfaction and enjoyment on his face. By the way, I showed Tian Yushi the correct way to eat barbecue. Yes, I'm coming too. Tianyu abandoned his usual elegance. It's just that her Sakura peach mouth obviously can't be as wild as little Linlin. In the end, the corners of his mouth were stained with oil. Roger handed over a napkin. Thanks. Tian Yushi thanked him, took the napkin and wiped the corners of his mouth. Look up, but he found that Roger was still looking at him. Without blinking, eyes facing each other, Tian Yushi's beautiful face unconsciously blushed. A little heart stopped unconsciously for a moment. This was the first time she had such emotions. No. She couldn't interfere with Roger's sight, at least she could control the island herself. Tian Yushi quickly looked away and concentrated on destroying the barbecue in front of him. Even though she was trying not to notice Roger. But he can still feel the sight on the other side. Because Roger's gaze was so naked that he didn't hide it at all. At this moment, look at the beautiful girl in front of you. Roger is seriously thinking about a once-in-a-lifetime plan. Its name is the Perverted Kid Momonosuke Must Die Plan. As a qualified traveler, come to the world of pirates. The world government doesn't have to fight, but the pervert Momonosuke must die. There is no doubt about it. The year is now 1459. It was still several decades before Momonosuke was born. But there is no way to kill him. After all, the person in front of Roger now is the mother of future Momonosuke. As a time traveler, Roger's arrival in this era will inevitably cause many changes in the trajectory of history. If you can soak up Tensuki, you can prevent the birth of Momonosuke from the source. Simply wonderful. Until now, whether it was Tia or Miss Witch, Roger was in a passive position and was finally ready to take the initiative to capture the girl in front of him. Only, how to do it specifically? Go straight to the point. That was too sudden. What should we do if we scare people into traveling through time and space to the future? Read a few lines of poetry like Grant. No. It's so shameful. Those lines of Grant's complacency come to mind. Roger shuddered suddenly. Even if you beat him to death. While thinking, the kimono girl Amazuki Toki has already destroyed the 2 big pieces of flesh and blood in front of her. Little Linlin, the big eater, was still feasting. Thanks for the treat. Tianyushi put his hands together and said thank you. Are you full? Do you want another piece? Roger asked. No, that's enough. Tianyushi waved his hands repeatedly. He turned his head and looked at little Linlin who was happily cooking. Tian Yushi brushed her hair beside her ears. Thank you very much for today. It's just a small effort. Besides, if I want to thank you, I should thank Xiaoling. Xiaoling is such an incredible child. Yes, you are very talented. The more you eat, the stronger you will be. Roger and Tianyu chatted from time to time. He's obviously talking. The atmosphere is developing in a somewhat embarrassing direction. A good moment. Tianyu took a deep breath. Well, Mr. Roger, you must be a very powerful person. Tian Yushi suddenly asked. It's okay. Roger was noncommittal. Then you must know Wanokuni's location. Tien Yushi's eyes were bright. Let's just say I've been there once. It's not an interesting place. Roger waved casually. As early as a few years ago. He once took Miss Witch to Wanokuni for a vacation. Really? Great. Mr. Roger, I have a request. Please take me to Wanokuni with you. That is my dream. Tien Yushi's pretty face showed unprecedented excitement and joy. Following the ancient etiquette of Wanokuni, he made a request to Roger with a hopeful look on his face. Hey, Tien Yushi's inner OS, a look of reluctance. But, please, as I said before, Wanokuni is very boring. It doesn't matter, I have a reason to go there. Well, Roger frowned. Taking Tensuke to Wanokuni is not a big deal. It takes a little effort. The problem is after going there. This girl will most likely stay. As the director of Impel Down, of course I cannot hang out all year round. Old Macaw is going to cry. Is it really not possible? Tien Yushi asked in one last attempt. Sister Shi, why do you have to go to Wanokuni? Come down with Impel with us next. On the side, little Linlin spoke innocently. Impel Down. Tianyu was stunned. That's right, it's Impel Down. Grandpa Roger is the owner there. We're about to go back. Little Linlin said. Tianyushi. She remembered. What exactly is the Impel Down that little Linlin calls? Deep Sea Prison. One of the agencies under her greatest enemy. Once you get there, there is absolutely no turning back. The director of the men's city in front of me. Not good. Very bad. Gonna get caught. We can only travel to the future. Tianyu thought so. The body's danger prediction already instinctively precedes thoughts and actions. Paramesh's time-honored fruit ability is activated. Countless time fragments wrapped around the sky and the moon disappeared in an instant. So fast. Even Roger had no time to explain. In the end, he just shook his head helplessly. Earlier when Linlin talked about Impel Down, there was a thump in his heart. But I never imagined that Tianyushi's reaction to Impel Down would be so great. He ran away immediately. This sudden situation also made little Linlin's eyes widen in shock. Ahem, what's going on? Where's Sister Shi? Is Sister Shi a monster? Little Linlin has a wonderful idea. Don't worry, Sister is just waiting for us further ahead. We will have a chance to see you again in the future. Roger smiled and spoke. The first encounter with Tianyu ended hastily. But this is not the end. Roger hasn't given up yet. Momonosuke's obliteration plan. The next day, pack up all the Black Fox Group members hiding on the island. Roger and little Linlin transfer to the Black Fox Group's ship. Return Impel Down. Half a month later. Impel Down, here we come. Chapter 82 The Prison Flower in the Big Prison. Roger's illegitimate daughter. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Between Paradise and South Blue. A calm belt runs across it. In the middle of the sea, where there is no wind and no waves. The deep sea prison stands like a giant beast. On all sides of the behemoth. 20 large warships lined up. The Guardian prison cannot be invaded by anyone. There is nothing unusual about warship no. 1. There is nothing strange about warship number 2. No. 3. No. 4. Debriefings are conducted once an hour. All the way to the 10th warship. Alert alert. There is a large pirate ship heading towards Impel Down at great speed. The observation deck of the number 10 warship sent an urgent report to the marine watchers. The alarm then sounded. However, he was soon blocked by the superior again. Idiot, hurry up and take a closer look. Who was standing on the bow of that pirate ship? The colonel scolded. That's Director Roger. Impel Down Director Roger. When did Mr. Roger go out this time? As expected of Sir Roger, I always come back with a full load of food. 1, 2, 3. This time there are 20 pirate flags. It's so powerful. The trophy flag captured by Director Roger can circle around Impel Down. The veterans on each military 23 ship were all talking excitedly. The recruits who had just arrived were confused. It is completely impossible to understand the words of the veterans. Wait a moment, is that the director of Impel Down? Shouldn't the director of a large prison handle official business in the prison? Why is the director of Impel Down going out to catch pirates? The recruits asked in confusion. No, Director Roger didn't go out to catch pirates. How should I put it? This is the director's personal interest. Director Roger regularly goes out several times a year, and he always brings a boatload of pirates with him when he comes back. It'll be fine if you get used to it later. Stop watching and go back to your posts. The pirate ship loaded with pirate prisoners and treasures, thrown itself into a trap, and sailed into Impel Down. Director Roger. Master Director. Lord Roger. Welcome back. The jailers who had been waiting for him came forward excitedly. Baka, the prisoners and the treasure on the ship will be left to you. Roger greeted the current Impel Down warden. The distant nephew of the current deputy director Macaw. As one of the first people to learn the 6 styles. He is less than 40 years old, and now he has the strength and ability to be a warden. He is also Roger's favorite candidate to be the next deputy director. He will definitely inherit his uncle's legacy perfectly. When he is out, take care of all the Impel Down matters for him. Yes, Director Roger, by the way, this child is. Warden Baka looked at little Linlin. This child is Xiaoling, and she will also be a member of the big prison in the future. Roger's concise introduction. Hello Uncle Baka. Little Linlin saluted politely. Xiaoling. Good, good, good. Baka nodded happily. Finally, Impel Down welcomes its first female member. Although Linlin looks a bit strong now. But every fat person has potential. Maybe in the near future. They Impel Down are also going to launch Hellflower, which makes Marine and the guys jealous to death. Baka thought happily. Roger took little Linlin straight to the gate on the first floor of the sea. Deputy Director Macaw sat leisurely on the chair, holding a cup of hot wolfberry tea in his hand. Hey, Macaw, have you settled today's affairs? Roger greeted with a smile. Director Roger, I want to apply for retirement again. Deputy Director Macaw said calmly. No, Macaw, if you wait 2 more years, the position of director will be yours soon. Roger smiled. Deputy Director Macaw rolled her eyes. He said nothing. He just turned around and left holding the thermos cup. Same words. He had heard it from Roger countless times. Ah, I believe you as a ghost. Young people don't respect martial ethics. Who lied to me, an old man? Don't you just want me to help you correct official documents? I can't stand you anyway. But my nephew Baka can definitely make it through for you. Macaw thought firmly. Roger was in no hurry to take Linlin to the 5.5th underground floor. Before that, Roger first took 5-year-old Linlin to visit the baptismal room for an hour. Listen to the screams of the prisoners during the boiling water baptism session. She is not the cruel aunt she will be in the future. The innocent and kind-hearted little Linlin was so frightened that her face turned pale. I repeatedly expressed that I didn't want to continue watching. But Roger did not agree. As a reserve jailer for Impel Down, she had to overcome this. Kindness and justice cannot be forgotten. But in some aspects, it must be ruthless enough. Complete the baptismal visit. Roger took little Linlin to Crimson Hell on the underground floor. Grandpa Roger, Linlin is really scared. Little Linlin twirled her fingers in frustration. Don't be afraid. Don't sympathize. Xiaoling, the people imprisoned here are all evil and bad people. How should we treat bad people? Roger asked. They should be told to stop fighting. Little Linlin said. Roger, have to. This journey was all in vain. But, if Charlotte Linlin can always maintain this nature, it seems not bad. In the future, I will become one of the pillars of Impel Down instead of a big mom who brings trouble to everyone. I took my 5-year-old Linlin to visit each level of hell in Impel Down. Roger finally returned to Freezing Hell, the 5th underground level. Today the freezing hell wind and snow rarely stopped. However, the climate is still very cold. Soon, little Linlin was shivering from the cold. Roger didn't delay. Take her directly to the 5.5th floor. Wow, it's warm again. Little Linlin smiled happily. Welcome home, Donna-sama. The witch lady wearing an apron rushed out of the kitchen. I just wanted to give Roger a big hug of love after a long absence. The next second, Esmeralda paused and her eyes fell on little Linlin behind Roger. Hey, Roger, who is this kid? Tia, who was also wearing an apron and cooking together, asked suspiciously. Could this child be your illegitimate daughter outside? Miss Witch's narrow eyes narrowed in a dangerous arc. 267. Vice Admiral Tia smiled and waited for Roger's explanation. Obviously he has been unwilling to let them get pregnant. As a result, there is an illegitimate daughter outside. If this kind of thing is true, what are you thinking? Little Linlin is not an illegitimate daughter. Roger couldn't laugh or cry. He immediately explained it in a concise manner. I see. It's okay if it's not. The smiles on the faces of Vice Admiral Tia and Miss Witch returned. Sister Tia, Sister Ice, hello. 5-year-old Linlin saluted politely. Little Linlin, so cute. Come on, sit down quickly, the food will be ready soon. Vice Admiral Tia and Miss Witch greeted each other warmly. Sisters, Linlin may eat a little too much. Little Linlin blushed and spoke sheepishly. It doesn't matter, now is the time to grow taller. It's absolutely okay to eat more, as long as it's enough. Tia and Miss Witch agreed wholeheartedly. And then, after little Linlin completely let go of her belly and ate deliciously. Only then did they realize that they had underestimated little Linlin's appetite. By the way, Roger, isn't this the magical thing about this child you mentioned earlier? Miss Witch asked. No, it doesn't matter if you can eat it. Xiaoling is a real monster-level genius. Roger grinned. Monster level? How many monsters? Are they the same as you? Tia asked. I'm afraid even at the age of 5 I'm no match for her. Well, real or fake? If you don't believe it, go next door and try it later. Chapter 83 5-year-old Linlin's natural strength. Shocked the whole audience. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The advancement level is 5.5 floors underground. The earliest was 35 years ago. Roger was created with the help of the human monster Mori's push fruit ability. However, giant Mori only opened up about 1/3 of the space. Later, Roger regarded it as his own private floor. 25 years ago, after Roger became the director of Impel Down, plans to build 5.5 underground floors have emerged. The other 2/3 of the space is also opened up, used to provide rest and entertainment for Impel Down's jailers. There is also the most important 6-style training ground. Every new jailer who joins Impel Down needs to undergo a period of 6-style training. Those who are less talented can learn one move and get hired. Those with good talent can learn more moves after work. And so on. Impel Down the jailers will no longer be cannon fodder. If the future King Luffy comes to rob the prison again, there must be no way for him to come back, full of wine and food. Roger took little Linlin and the skeptical Tia and Miss Witch to the 6-style training ground next door. In the training ground, dozens of jailers, large and small, are practicing hard under the guidance of instructor. Except Impel Down the native jailer. There are also 10 half-grown teenagers who are not Impel Down in the training ground. They are study abroad exchange students from the World Government CP organization. It is said that it is a study abroad exchange, but in fact the world government firmly believes that Roger is hiding something secret. I don't believe that Roger, a master, would honestly hand over all the secrets of the 6 styles to them. Therefore, I specially sent my own people to Impel Down to communicate and learn from each other and confirm each other. Over 20 years, it turns out whether it's Impel Down or Marine, Takumi or world government, they all learned the same 6 postures. However, this tradition has been preserved. Roger feels that with the CP boys from world government, there can be some competition. Improve the motivation of jailers to practice and speed up their progress. So it was acquiesced. They were not deported. Sometimes teenagers will also be sent to join the Marines, forming a 3-party competition. Compared to world government and Marines' carefully selected talents, the foundation and talent of Impel Down jailer youths are often at a disadvantage. However, this phenomenon will come to an end starting today. Director W. Director Roger. Lord Roger. Welcome back. When Roger appeared on the training ground, it immediately caused a sensation. Impel Down the 6-style instructor and the jailer boys. They all put down the training at hand. I came to Roger immediately to say hello. Roger smiled kindly and nodded. The half-grown boy from the World Government CP organization still stood still, with a solemn look on his face. Before they came to Impel Down, the world government had brainwashed them. That's the director of Impel Down, Roger Chester. He looks so handsome. The blonde girl who was about 12 years old and ready for CP whispered with an infatuated look on her face. Shut up, Guy Serling, and don't forget the government's teachings. Rob, the 15-year-old leader of this exchange class, scolded lightly. But, is this true? The girl named Guy Serling lowered her head in grievance. Okay, let's say less to each other. The long-nosed boy smooths things over. I wonder what the director of Impel Down is doing today. If he comes to teach in person, I would really like to see his 6 postures. Director Roger, are you here to test our 6 types today? A young jailer asked, his face full of excitement. There's no rush, I'm taking the initiative to introduce you to your new partners today. Xiaoling, come here. Roger waved. The 5-year-old Linlin who was hiding behind Roger quickly stepped forward. Hello brothers, I am Linlin, I am 5 years old this year. Little Linlin introduced himself politely. After a brief silence. Alas, as this child only 5 years old. But this size, is so big. Director, is Linlin a giant? No, Linlin is a serious human race. Little Linlin retorted seriously. This really scared me, but little Linlin is so polite. And she's also the first female jailer in our Impel Down. Does this mean that there will be jailbirds after our Impel Down? Half of the jailers and teenagers were talking about it. I am very surprised to see little Linlin join us. At this time, PFF'd, Impel Down's prison flower is a big fat man. A world government CP teenager couldn't help laughing. You are so peeing and so fat, how should you exaggerate when you grow up? As expected, Impel Down can't compare to our world government. The teenagers who had been brainwashed by the government spoke triumphantly. A provocation for children. As the director, Roger naturally wouldn't care at all. But the jailers, who were also young men, couldn't bear it. He immediately responded sternly. The conflict between the 2 sides escalated. There are signs that they will get into a fight if they disagree. Everyone, wait, don't fight over Linlin. Kind-hearted little Linlin stepped forward with small steps. Ha ha ha, who would fight for a fat woman like you? It's so funny. The world government boy mocked mercilessly. Those brats are really going too far. A chill ran through Miss Witch's body. Are you doing things because of meddling in children's affairs? Roger smiled. But Linlin, such a sensible and polite child, was so slandered. Tia didn't finish her words. Suddenly, the atmosphere on the court changed. King Qian's Grandpa Roger said that Linlin is not fat and will lose weight when he grows up. Little Linlin said seriously. So what? You are the fat guy now. The world government's young man seeking death is still provocative. Finally, little Linlin burst out. Don't call Linlin fat. Snapped. Little Linlin slapped him subconsciously. Only a whooshing sound was heard. The young man wanted by the world government is flying backwards like a cannonball. It hit the wall with a bang, his eyes popped out, and he fainted instantly. This moment, the whole audience was silent. What a thing. The next second, gudong, gudong, hiss, hiss, hiss. Wow, people were in an uproar full of shock and disbelief. You tell me, this is a 5-year-old child. Chapter 84 Steel Balloon. Knock out the strongest CP with one slap. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The huge Impel Down training ground is located on the 5.5th floor underground. The elegant bird is silent, but the drop of a needle can be heard. All because of the sudden shocking scene before. Linlin was angered by the mean-mouthed boy from world government and slapped him so hard that he was stuck in the wall and couldn't even buckle it out. What a shame. You must know that the young man who was slapped away has a bad mouth. The talent is amazing. At the age of 14, he has mastered 4 of the 6 movements. I even learned how to use Iron Body. But even so, he was still slapped down. Especially when the person who took action was a 5-year-old girl. How far did the power of this palm reach before? Not even the Iron Body can defend itself. After a long silence, shocked uproar and noise arose from the people. What a joke. That's a Sith, second only to Rob among our group of students. She actually broke the defenses of all the Sith who had learned Iron Body with one slap. No, it's impossible. It must have been too sudden, and the Sith couldn't react, so they didn't use Tai Chen. Yes, that must be the case. How can a 5-year-old kid be so strong? But, those 243 gaps in the wall. The CP exchange students from world government shook their heads in disbelief. Look at the other side. Impel Down's local jailer youths couldn't help laughing after a brief moment of astonishment. The world government's mean-mouthed young Sith relies on his talent on weekdays. He was always sarcastic towards them. Now, finally, the iron plate has been kicked. Ha 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 ha. Little Linlin is really awesome. He actually knocked that Sith down with one slap. I wonder if that guy will dare to be arrogant again. No matter how arrogant he is, I will say that he was slapped by a 5-year-old child. But after all, little Linlin is really talented. As expected of the director, he brought it back. This is simply a natural strength. The young jailers couldn't help but marvel. Listen to what people are saying. Only then did little Linlin react. Looking at the boy who was slapped away by him. Her little face couldn't help but turn pale. Wow, sorry, I didn't mean to. Little Linlin was scared and apologized repeatedly. What should we do, Grandpa Roger? Linlin seems to have gotten into trouble again. The kind-hearted little Linlin looked down at her toes, feeling guilty for hurting others. Don't be afraid, Xiaoling, you can't die at this level. Roger said casually. Not far away, the always prepared Dr. Impel Down had already dug out the mean-mouthed boy and made a gesture to show that he would not die. Linlin, kindness is an indispensable good character, but if you are too kind, you will be bullied. In this world of the jungle, you must learn to protect yourself. The witch lady educated her with sincerity. Sister Icy, but Impel Down Director Roger, as a representative of the world government, I request a fight with her. Is it okay? A young man walked out of the international student camp of world government. After witnessing the tragic situation of the second strong man, the only one who dared to stand up was naturally the leader, Rob. Of course, he couldn't sit idly by when his partners in the same camp were defeated by a sneak attack. I remember you seemed to be. Forget it, I allowed it. Roger agreed casually. The next second, a delicate hand pinched his waist mercilessly. Are you a devil? Little Linlin is about to cry. You want her to fight. And that monster kid from world government is not a good person. Tia said softly. Don't worry, Linlin's words are absolutely fine. Roger gave her a reassuring look. For sudden battles. Little Linlin looked at a loss. Come on, Linlin. Little Linlin, come on. Let that guy see how powerful you are. Impel Down's young jailers were shouting and cheering. On the contrary, it was Ling's little Linlin who caused more and more chaos. His eyes rolled in circles, and he was even a little unsteady when standing. Chance. As the top seed player in the world government CP organization. Of course, young Rob would not miss such an excellent opportunity. Shave. His feet hit the ground 36 times in an instant, and he disappeared in a flash. The next time he appeared was in front of Linlin. Kick out. Tempest kick. A blue air blade flew out from his right foot. Hitting little Linlin right in the stomach. Tear. It's over. No one has been able to withstand Rob's kick for this. Sure enough, the Sith was just an accident before. How can a 5-year-old child be a monster? The half-grown CP teenagers in world government are eager to draw conclusions. Unknowingly, a clear flag was set for young Rob. Linlin. Xiao Ling, are you okay? Impel Down the local jailer teenagers couldn't help but look nervous. No. It's okay. Little Linlin took half a step back. Rob's previous kick only tore her clothes, and at the same time restored her chaotic thoughts to normal. When aware of this, the huge training ground was silent again. Such a thing. How is it possible? That's Rob's Tempest kick. How can it be unscathed? Is that little girl a monster? The half-grown boys and girls in world government were all shocked. Certainly. The most shocking thing is naturally the genius Rob himself. Regarding the power of his kick, he knows best. Although it is restrained, it can definitely break the stone pillar easily. However, it only made the 5-year-old child take half a step back. Simply outrageous. Not only are you born with strange powers, but your body is as strong as an iron wall. What's more, iron body. Where did you pick up this genius? Vice Admiral Tia murmured with shock on her face. As long as you pay attention, you will always find it. Roger smiled slightly. Tia, between fields. 5-year-old Linlin touched her chubby belly. It hurt a little bit before, but Linlin was angry. Little Linlin waved his fist aggressively. Bring it on. Young Rob did not attack again. The previous subconscious sneak attack had no success and was a loss of face. So he planned to take the initiative to bear Linlin's blow and save face. Certainly. There are lessons learned from the Sith. He won't just do nothing. The 6th form of iron body is activated, turning his body into a body of steel. Boom, boom, boom. Little Linlin walked with steps that were as if the earth was shaking. A slap came out. Boom. In the muffled sound, Rob, the boy who turned on the iron body, slid back 10 meters and finally stopped. HMPH, but oh wow. The young man Rob vomited blood, rolled his eyes and fell to the ground. Chapter 85 Sensational 5-year-old Linlin in Marine and World Government Open Black Lens Bracket. Please subscribe close Black Lens Bracket. Advertise here. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Hey, did you hear that? What did you hear? Impel Down has another monster. At only 5 years old, he defeated a master who had learned the 6 moves. Nani, is it true or false? You are just messing around. It can be fake. It is said that the talented child was brought back by director Impel Down himself. Will the child that the adult brings back to be his successor be ordinary? Not only are you born with strange powers, but you also have an invulnerable, steel body. If we continue to grow, it is almost certain that we will be able to compete with Admiral. All over the headquarters, the sailors were all surprised and talking. One day ago, the outcome of the battle between 5-year-old Linlin and government genius Rob has already caused a stir. There was a heated discussion with naval headquarters. At the same time, Marshal's office in the headquarters building. You have such fighting power at the age of 5. It's a pity that a genius of this level is left in Impel Down like this. Now we at Marine are looking for people, and we must win them over. The 80-year-old former Marine Marshal Cook spoke firmly. But, Mr. Cook, that is the genius that Roger worked so hard to find. I am afraid that he is preparing to train him to take over the position of director of Impel Down. How could he let it go so easily? Thunder Marshal Raymond shook his head. Of course, it's all about emotion and reason. Besides, I'm Dia's teacher. After all, I'm still his elder. I can't be too personal. Former Marshal Cook said in an old-fashioned way. Mr. Cook, it's better not to worry. Tia will be back soon. You should discuss it with her first. Marshal Raymond persuaded with earnest words. The words fell and fell. Vice Admiral Tia returns to the headquarters after her vacation. Mr. Raymond, hey, why is the teacher free to come here today? Vice Admiral Tia naturally sat down at the desk opposite Marshal Raymond. The past 20 years, when Cook was still Marshal, Tia has been serving as an assistant to the Marshal, helping with official duties here. Now that Cook has abdicated, Raymond has become the new Marshal. Tia's position as assistant to the Marshal remains. Tia, you came at the right time. Let me ask you, is the child Roger brought back really as talented as the rumors say? Old Cook asked quickly. Teacher, you mean little Linlin, eh? Vice Admiral Tia nodded affirmatively and added at the end. Xiaoling's talent will only be more exaggerated than the rumors. Okay. Old Cook said hello repeatedly. Then Tia, you should also think that it would be better for such an admiral talent to develop in Marine. Tia, how could she not understand her teacher's thoughts? In fact, she originally thought about letting little Linlin develop in Marine. Only, forget it, teacher, I have already fought for what I should fight for. Vice Admiral Tia spread her hands helplessly. See, I told you a long time ago that Roger won't let him go easily. Marshal Raymond shook his head. Hey, then I will go all out and MITN will find him personally. Old Cook is gearing up. It was as if he was possessed by old Carl. Heading to Impel Down with high spirits. At the same time. The top of the red line. Holy Land, Mariajoy. The news about my CP's exchange student, who was studying abroad suffered greatly at Impel Down. Naturally, the world government does not know this. To the end, even the 5 elders, the highest authority, were alarmed. Because this incident concerns Roger. At this moment. The meeting hall of the 5 elders deep in Mariajoy. The 5 highest powers gathered together. Charlotte Linlin, 5 years old, extremely talented. Not only is he born with strange strength, but he also has a body of steel. Genius level. SSS. Look at the super high ratings given by people below. The 5 elders, who were always calm about changes, couldn't help but feel moved. Such talents should stay within our government for development. She will definitely become the strongest CP. The bald old star with birthmark spoke firmly. You're right. At the age of 5, her mind is far from fully developed. If you want to brainwash her, now is the best time. The old star, the sword-wielding warrior, echoed. That's true, but what should we do? The blonde old star frowned. This monster genius was brought back by that man himself. I'm afraid it's just a hot potato. Please give me flowers, 0. The curly-haired aristocratic old star shook his head. The old star with the bald birthmark and the old star with the sword were also silent. If you want to capture little Linlin, you need to bypass the Roger Mountain. Even one can't do it well. The Mariajoy incident of 25 years ago is about to happen again. Such a gaffe must never happen again. This is their promise to Lord I Am. The silence lasted for a long time. Even if we can't get this monster girl, we absolutely can't let her stay in Impel Down. The oldest 5 elders spoke up, breaking the silence. Well said. Just one monster is enough. If there's one more, it won't be lawless. We, the world government, may not want it, but we absolutely cannot let that man get what he wants. 0. Then get that girl to Marine. The eyes of those with the highest authority lit up. At this time, Lord 5 Elders, former Marine Marshal Cook has set off to Impel Down. A world government official reported. This is really a pillow for you as soon as you doze off. We haven't even started to push it yet. This is really the best thing. It's just a good time to sit on the mountain and watch the fight between tigers. It would be really great if Marine and Impel Down were separated. The 5 elders thought happily. Unfortunately, their best wishes were doomed to fail. That evening, former Marshal Cook, who came to take advantage of the opportunity, returned in despair. Regarding Linlin's marine growth plan, lobbying failed. Throughout the whole process, Roger didn't say a word. Everything is Linlin's own wish. That's why, even if old Cook is angry, he has nowhere to vent his anger. To be honest, if the old Cook could do more homework. There is no need to make false claims about benevolence and righteousness, and to lobby with big cakes. But if you take out the real pie and cake, the success rate will be much higher. Block the many sugar-coated bullets from world government and marine. 5-year-old Linlin has taken root in Impel Down. 2 years have flown by. Time goes to see Circle Calendar 1461. Roger left Impel Down and set off again. Get ready to go to East Blue for a 10-year appointment. Chapter 86 2 Disciples. Marine Garp and Straw Hat Roger. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. East Blue. The most peaceful sea area in the world. Roger Town. Now it is just an ordinary town. There's no nickname for the town of beginnings and ends. See Circle Calendar 1461. The legend has not yet gone to sea. The legend is about to go to sea. Sky. Sunday Jinshin. The sea is calm. Today's Roger Town is still as. Boom. The beautiful peace was broken by the arrival of a group of pirates. All hands up. Get all the items on the list ready. I am going to challenge that demonic sea area today. Challenge Grand Line. The big pirate captain with a bounty of 5 million berries laughed confidently. Woohoo. The piercing sirens broke the tranquility of Marine Base in Roger Town. Captain Garp. 243. Ensign. Really? At such a critical moment, where has Ensign gone? A small group of sailors shouted anxiously. Shaw asked his parents. Snapped. A soft sound came from the dense trees. A sleep bubble exploded on the nose of a boy with a crew cut. Falling from a tree. Ah, I found it. It's Garp Ensign. The sailors shouted happily. What happened? The young Marine ensign, who had just been woken up, was still outside the situation. No time to explain. Japanese army. Pirates appeared in the port, and the colonel has rushed over now. Ensign, let's leave quickly. Several Marines carried the young Marine ensign Garp and rushed to the port. It took a minute to understand the situation. Garp suddenly stood up and lifted several thin sailors off the ground. It's too slow. Hurry up. Garp grinned. Despair. There was an explosion of footsteps. Moonwalk. Garp stepped repeatedly, stepping on the atmosphere, soaring into the sky. Rush to the port as soon as possible. Oh. As expected of Garp Ensign. This is Marine 6 styles that even a colonel can't do. The 3 sailors who were carried into the sky by Garp shouted excitedly. No, I'm not using Marine 6 styles, I'm using Propulsion 6 styles. Garp retorted seriously. Well, they're all the same. Garp Ensign, where did you learn that? One of the Marines asked. PFF ha, this is what the teacher taught me 10 years ago. Garp laughed. Not long after. The port is in sight. I am Roger Town Base Ensign Garp, here to drive away evil. Garp said the lines about winning 20 feet, and fell from the sky gracefully. However, unexpected. The port, which had recently been reported to have been attacked by pirates, was unexpectedly calm. Garp Ensign, look over there. Pirates. All the pirates have been arrested. The 2 sailors' eyes widened. Ta. A swarm of chaotic footsteps sounded. Garp, where are the pirates? The colonel from Roger Town Base arrived with a large number of manpower. Garp pointed blankly at the tied-up pirates not far away with bruises and swollen faces. As expected of Garp Ensign. Everything is solved so quickly. With Garp Ensign here, the pirates can't make trouble at all. Later, the sailors spoke in admiration. No, it's not me. Garp wanted to explain. Didn't wait to finish. You are truly a genius among geniuses, Garp. The colonel of Roger Town Base patted Garp on the shoulder. I have submitted a recommendation report to the headquarters. I believe you will be able to go directly to the headquarters soon. If you are prosperous by then, don't forget me, brother. Colonel Rob. No, I can't go to headquarters yet. Garp's expression changed and he shook his head seriously. Why? Becoming a glorious sailor is something that many people can't achieve. Colonel Robert was puzzled. I have reasons why I have to stay in East Blue, but now is not the time to talk about that. Garp stepped forward quickly and learned what had happened previously from the mouths of the onlookers at the port. Before they arrive, the boy sleeping in the port killed the pirates. At the same time, they robbed the pirates' ship. Thanks. Garp thanked him and chased in the direction the people were pointing. About half an hour later, Garp found the pirate ship on the deserted back shore of Roger Town. The pirate flag on the mast was removed. A boy about 16 years old wearing a straw hat was concentrating on something sitting on the deck. It's really you, Roger. Garp shouted and landed on the deck on moonwalk. What? It's Garp, it scared me. The boy wearing a straw hat picked his ears. Roger, what do you want to do this time? General Will. The young pirate king, Galdi Roger raised the black skull flag on the ground like a show-off. Finally finished, my pirate flag. This is the best pirate flag. The wavy beard represents freedom. What do you think, Garp? Do you want to go with your senior brother to turn this world upside down? Roger grinned and extended an invitation to Garp. However, what he received in exchange was a merciless kick from Garp. The blue Tempest kick air blade flew out. Roger quickly turned around to protect the flag. Use your own juniors to block Garp's surprise attack. Iron Body. Asshole Roger, the teacher taught you the 6 moves not to make you a pirate and do evil. You want to be a glorious sailor like me and practice justice. Also, I am older than you, so I am the senior brother. Garp shouted righteously. I don't want it. Being a sailor is not freedom at all. I want to be the freest man in this sea. Besides, the teacher met me first. Roger, the straw hat boy, opened his arms wide and roared loudly. Wow, Roger, you are a complete idiot. You will regret it when the teacher comes back. Garp gritted his teeth. I won't regret it in 3.2. The teacher originally let us decide the future path by ourselves. I just made a choice. Besides, my intuition tells me that teacher Roger must be a great pirate. Roger spoke firmly. No, the teacher must be a big shot in Marine. Garp retorted. Pirates, Marine, pirates, Marine. The quarrel between the brothers continued for a long time. At some point, the sailor Garp and the pirate Roger both felt moved. Their eyes invariably fell overseas, looking at the menacing pirate ship from far to near. There is also the man standing on the bow of the pirate ship. The 2 teenagers were stunned at first. Immediately, extreme joy and excitement appeared on his face. Teacher Roger. Chapter 87 Pirate King Roger and Hero Garp, set off. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Shave, moonwalk, tempest kick, boom. Finger pistol, boom. Iron body, paper arts, the back bank of Roger Town. The waves crashed on the shore. The rocks penetrated the sky. Roaring into pieces, 3 blurry figures shuttled and intertwined. The ground exploded under their feet and was riddled with holes. Large crisscrossing cracks scattered and spread. Rumble, rumble. After a lengthy roar, the coast returned to its usual calm. 10 years have passed. The examination between master and apprentice is over. Above the huge reef, Roger stood with his hands behind his back. The whole body is spotless. Jumpsuit Kakuzu is never messy. The big cloak behind him is hunting in the wind, like an immortal riding the wind back. Below the reef, 2 boys of 16 or 17 were lying on their backs. His mouth was wide open, and he was breathing heavily because of his mouth. 2 teenagers who usually have unlimited energy. Now he is as tired as a dog. This shows how heavy the previous battle was on them. No, it still doesn't work. The young man Garp drooped his tongue and waved his hands repeatedly. The teacher's level is really too high. As high as the sky. Roger the Straw Hat shook his head. Haha, you 2 brats, you are still far behind. Roger grinned. Suddenly, his words broke out. However, in 10 years, you have practiced the 6 movements to such a perfect level on your own, and developed many extension techniques. You 2 are qualified. Real. Very good. The 2 teenagers who were recognized by the teacher jumped 3 feet high with joy. The smile on Roger's lips gradually widened. This trip is East Blue. The 10-year appointment he was about to make was an agreement with 2 legendary disciples, Garp and Roger. Monkey D. Garp, the future Marine legendary hero. Gal D. Roger, the pirate king who conquers the Grand Line in the future. No matter which one is a legendary figure standing at the top of the sea. Now, both of them are Roger's disciples. It all started with a trip to East Blue 10 years ago. As a time traveler. As a powerful time traveler. At the same time, as a time traveler who traveled too early. Of course Roger won't just stay in Impel Down for the rest of his life. In that case, it would be too boring. So from 17 years ago, Roger then began to plan an unprecedented big plan. Start a big game that covers the world. Relying on the foresight information of the time travelers. Roger is ready to recruit the next generation of sea heroes. With his age and strength, it is more than enough to be a teacher for them who are still in their infancy. One Piece Roger and marine hero Garp were his original targets. The reason is also very simple. In addition to the huge potential of these two people in the future. The most important thing is that Roger is the most certain about the whereabouts of these two items. East Blue Roger Town and Goa Kingdom Windmill Village. Just know this. It is not difficult to find them as children. 10 years ago, Roger comes to Roger Town. See, hear and see. It only took less than 5 minutes to find the 6-year-old Straw Hat Kid Roger. A bit of deception. Bah, Xiaoji moved with emotion and reason. Roger, who was already lonely and helpless, soon boarded Roger's boat. Then Roger took him to Windmill Village. There is no need to see, hear, color or detect at all. Garp, a 7-year-old boy carrying a water pipe, came to the door himself. Roger's body shook. The two future legends of the sea immediately bowed their heads and became Roger's disciples. Half a year, Roger taught the 6 postures to the two of them. Give them a solid foundation. Because of a certain purpose. Roger didn't take them all back to Impel Down. Instead, he made a 10-year agreement with them. Let them freely choose their own paths. 10 years later now. Roger arrived for his appointment on time. The two teenagers were baptized. The sun sets. Night falls. There were huge waves on the sea. Almost in no particular order. 3 figures broke out of the sea. Behind each of them floats a Sea King's prey. PFF ha 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 ha. Idiot Roger, the length of your Sea Kings is far worse than mine. Garp laughed. Idiot Garp, what's the use of being long? Look at how much meat your skinny one has. The one I caught is fat. Roger said with disdain. What did you say? You want to fight? Come on, just fight. Whoever is afraid of whom. Yeah, bang bang. You brats, stop bickering. Roger gave Roger and Garp a chestnut each. Knock them to the ground. It hurts. Teacher's attack still hurts as always. It's so heartbreaking. The two legendary boys covered their heads and burst into tears of pain. You brats, this is the power called hockey, you don't have to learn much. But now the main thing is to eat. If you want to eat meat, hurry up. The teacher is only responsible for barbecue. Roger said. Teacher's barbecue. Both Garp and Roger's eyes lit up. They know Roger 493's barbecue skills best. Since breaking up with Roger 10 years ago, they have been thinking about each other. Now I finally have a chance to eat it again. The two of them didn't hesitate at all. Decisively open Shikai and deal with Sea Kings. A bright campfire crackled. The golden roasted meat is sizzling with oil. Following Roger's order. The two teenagers quickly got started. Start feasting on the Sea King's barbecue. Garp. It's delicious. It's too much for a monkey to eat. Roger. Sure enough, the teacher's skills are amazing. This is the best barbecue in the world. Hee hee. Roger was smiling. Looking at the two legendary teenagers in front of me, I thought that there are benefits to traveling early. At least it's like becoming a teacher to the legends. Only time travelers like Roger can do it. And except for the two people here in the Impel Down little Linlin. Over the past 10 years, Roger also has a disciple. In that distant new world, a small island called the Sphinx. Full of wine and food. The 3 masters and apprentices lay on their backs on the cliff grass. Looking at the starry sky, we talked about everyday things at night. Roger, Garp, you guys, have you decided on your own path? Chapter 88 Roger drops the golden legend. Listen to the voice of all things. Open black lens bracket please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The sky is filled with stars. Waves come and go. The cliffs behind the peaceful Roger town. 3 figures, 1 big and 2 small, were lying on their backs on the grass. The atmosphere is quiet and peaceful. Just like the eve of separation 10 years ago. Roger once asked 2.5 young men to think about their future paths. Tell him again when we meet again in 10 years. Exactly now. Yes, I have already decided, Teacher Roger. Roger raised his hands excitedly. Teacher, my dream is to become a great sailor like my teacher and to bring justice to the suffering people. Garp decisively jumped ahead of Roger and told him his dream. Great sailor, what a great dream, but unfortunately, the teacher is not a sailor. Roger smiled slightly. Alas, Garp was dumbfounded. All the time, they are all big shots who regard Roger as marine. And work towards that goal. But until now, he just knew. Roger turned out not to be a big shot in marine as he imagined. How come, teacher, how can you? Ah ha 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 ha. Roger laughed, interrupting Garp's absent-minded whisper. I told you before, Garp, how could the teacher be marine? It seems like I won. Roger put his hands on his hips proudly. Teacher Roger, I want to be the freest person in this sea just like you. The ship is ready, the flag is in place, everything is ready. Oh, Roger, you want to be a pirate. Roger's eyes narrowed slightly. Certainly. Regarding this result, Roger would not be surprised at all. He who longs for freedom will never be bound by Impel Down. Even if I brought him to Impel Down 10 years ago. Finally he will return to the sea. This is his nature. It is also his destined destiny. That's right, teacher, I want to become a free pirate like teacher. Roger said, not without complacency. The dream is lofty, but unfortunately, the teacher is not a pirate either. Garp, who had his head hanging down just a second ago, suddenly lit up. You're neither a marine nor a pirate, so what do you do, sensei? Roger scratched his head in confusion. At this point, it doesn't hurt to tell you that although I'm not a marine, I still catch pirates, and dealing with pirates is my daily job. Roger sold it out. Not only does Marine also catch pirates, but he also has to deal with pirates every day. What kind of profession is this? Roger was confused and couldn't guess at all. Garp on the other side suddenly laughed. PFF ha 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 ha. Roger, this is my victory after all. But it wasn't like he had guessed Roger's occupation. But because of what Roger said, I will also catch pirates. Teacher, this kid Roger actually wants to be a pirate. This is not against you. Let's catch him and imprison him until he is impelled down. Garp is gearing up and eager to try. Impel Down. Ah, yes, it's Impel Down. Listening to Garp mention this keyword, Roger's mind flashed, and he seemed to have thought of something. What's wrong with Impel Down? What's all the fuss about? Garp touched his little crew cut. Idiot Garp, you are stupid. Either you have already told me all the answers, or you are Impel Down. Teacher Roger is the big shot in Impel Down, the deep sea prison. Roger said firmly. Ahem, is that so? Garp looked surprised. Roger nodded noncommittally. Very good. Garp fist bumped, excitement written on his face. To him, Marine and Impel Down are both similar. They all belong to the righteous camp. Roger, you. Garp just wanted to continue to squeeze Roger. By the way, I encouraged Roger to deal with Roger. But when I looked up, however, he discovered that Roger, who was approaching a second ago, had disappeared. Garp turned his head sharply and looked around. Roger was finally seen again at the bottom of the cliff. He had suddenly jumped onto the prepared pirate ship. Ah ha 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 ha. Teacher Roger, I'm sorry, my dream will never change. In order not to be caught by the teacher, I have no choice but to run away in advance. And junior brother Garp, goodbye. Next time we meet, we may be enemies. Roger laughed and set sail. Wow, idiot Roger, you are deceiving your master and destroying your ancestors. Garp shouted loudly, but there was no pursuit as usual. After all, Roger, the teacher, is here now. Even if the house needs to be cleaned up, it's Roger's turn. Goodbye, teacher Roger. If we encounter you on the sea in the future, please be merciful and spare me. Roger stood at the stern of the boat and waved goodbye happily. How dare you say that, Roger? In that case, let the teacher send you off to sail. Roger smiled kindly. Ever since, the smile on Roger's face froze. Looked at the sky. I don't know when. The clear night sky is gone. Thick dark clouds hung over his pirate ship. Number. I want. Ah. Roger, who had a premonition of what was about to happen, wailed. Boom. Click. Bright purple thunderbolts struck Roger and the boat one after another. Chop both of them until they are black. Fortunately, they managed to persevere. PFF'd ha 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 ha. You deserve it. Idiot Roger. Garp scoffed mercilessly. The next second. But Roger got up and ran away without looking back. Hey, he's still stubborn. Teacher, give him another try. Garp encouraged. Roger glanced sideways at Garp. Garp smiled innocently. Roger glanced at the dark boat that was getting further away. Then his eyes fell on the sea that had been struck by thunder previously. There is a golden card floating on the deep sea. That is the long-lost golden legend. The golden legend ripped from the body of the future pirate King Gall D. Roger. Roger's mind moved. The golden legend, Zhao's, on the sea not far away said that the attribute card turned into a stream of light and sank into Roger's body. Congratulations on getting the voice of listening to all things. Listen to the system's mechanical beep. Roger's mouth curled up unconsciously. Listen to the voice of all things. This is a power that only the chosen ones can awaken. It is an ability that is 100, 1,000 or even 10,000 times rarer than Conqueror's Haki. It not only allows Roger to hear the words of sea kings and strange races. You can even hear the sound of historical stones. At first glance, just hearing sounds doesn't seem to be of much use. But as a time traveler, Roger knows. There is absolutely nothing simple behind this ability. It connects 800 years of history. Teacher Roger, what's wrong? Garp's voice woke Roger from his reverie. It's nothing, you can go back and clean up, and then leave with the teacher. Roger said. That's great. Chapter 89 A Fateful Encounter. Roger and Rayleigh. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Roger Town, Marine Base. Alas alas. Garp Ensign, you, are you leaving? Why? Ensign, where are you going? The voices of the three sailors who worshipped Garp rose more than an octave. Although I'm sorry to everyone and Colonel Rob, I really have to leave, and the teacher is still waiting. Garp smiled sheepishly. Garp, is that person the teacher you always talk about? Who is he? Where is he taking you? The assignment from the headquarters is about to come out. You will soon become a sailor of the headquarters and have a bright future. Isn't that what you've always dreamed of? Other Marine colleagues at the base also spoke and persuaded one after another. Colonel Rob, where is Colonel Rob? Let the colonel come and persuade. Colonel Rob went to see the teacher at Garp Ensign. Ahem, what's going on? Why did Colonel Rob suddenly kneel down? Colonel, are you crying? Shocked uproar broke out among the sailors. It won't be long. Colonel Robert wiped away his tears of excitement and returned with brisk steps. 110 Garp, go. Now I can tell that you will become a big shot in the future. Colonel Rob spoke firmly. PFF ha 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 ha. By then, Colonel, everyone. Garp waved goodbye and drifted away with Roger. Really gone. You're obviously going to head to the headquarters soon. Is this really good? The sailors were disappointed. Of course the best, for Garp. Colonel Rob nodded. Colonel Robert, why, who is that person? Garp Ensign's teacher. Colonel, do you know? The sailors asked curiously. Of course I know. Colonel Rob, who was in his 40s at the time, nodded excitedly. That adult is a hero. Hero. But of course you in the new era don't know much about Lord Roger's legend. Then tell us, Colonel. Okay, but there are countless legends about Sir Roger, so be prepared to be stunned. Teacher, where are we going next? Want to go back to the big prison and Impel Down? Garp asked. It's not urgent, it's a rare trip, so of course I have to walk around. The next thing I think about, I'll go to South Blue for a walk. Roger makes a decision. Future hero Garp's good friend and future Marshal Sengoku is from South Blue. Roger went to South Blue once a few years ago, but unfortunately he couldn't find it. If you bring Garp with you this time, you may have different luck. At the same time, just as Roger and Garp set off for South Blue. East Blue, a peaceful island not far from Roger Town. Boom. A dilapidated and charred pirate ship ran aground on the coast. I really need to find a new boat now. Young Roger dusted himself off. Forget it, the boat will go straight when it reaches the bridge. Let's just take a walk and take a look. Roger carried his luggage, turned the straw hat in his hand, and walked slowly along the coast. About half an hour later, Roger's eyes lit up. At first glance, I caught sight of a small dhow anchored on the coast. What a nice ship, Roger exclaimed. This is my stolen boat. The blond young man lying on his back and taking a nap on the deck told the origin of the boat without hesitation. My home was burned down by some unscrupulous person, and now I live here. Okay, so, what's your name? Roger didn't care. Rayleigh. I'm Roger, we met by fate, Rayleigh. Destiny. Do you want to turn the world upside down with me? Ha ha, the world, ha ha ha, who do you think you are from? Go away. Rayleigh laughed, as if he had met a silly boy somewhere. Roger didn't care at all. He jumped onto Rayleigh's boat and talked to himself. Although your ship is small, depending on the operator, it may be able to withstand strong winds and waves. It is really a ship suitable for us to sail. Let's go sailing. Don't make decisions on your own. Why do I have to do such a thing? So it's the world. Come on, Rayleigh, let's go sailing. Ha 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 ha. Naval Headquarters, Mafado, Marshal Raymond, former Marshal Cook, Assistant Vice Admiral Tia, and Marine Admiral Kong who happened to be back. 4 Marine senior executives gathered together. It all started with Ensign, a small branch in the town of East Blue Roger. Certainly, what a big deal it is for a branch ensign to reject the invitation from the headquarters. Not enough to alarm such a lineup. That guy Roger, when did it happen? Why did he go to East Blue again this time? Marshal Raymond stroked his forehead helplessly. Vice Admiral Tia shrugged. It's still the same as always, Roger. Admiral Kong grinned. Is it time to laugh now? We have a Justice Marine with great potential who has been kidnapped. Former Marshal Cook, overwhelmed with outrage. Well, don't be so angry, teacher, that ensign named Garp is Roger's disciple. Vice Admiral Tia reassured. That Garp's teacher is Uncle Roger. No wonder he has completely mastered the 6 movements at the age of 17. When I first read the information, I thought he was a self-taught master. It really shocked me. But since Uncle Roger is a teacher, it makes sense. Kong sighed. But it is undeniable that this sailor named Garp is indeed very talented. Tia nodded in approval. How to say? Marshal Raymond asked. Because the last time Roger went to East Blue was 10 years ago, and he has never been to East Blue again in the past 10 years. This means that Roger only taught the basics for a short period of time, and he learned the rest by himself. And what the data shows may only be part of that Garp's strength. Vice Admiral Tia said. The huge marshal's office fell silent. That's true, how can the disciple who is favored by Uncle Roger be ordinary? Kong nodded in approval. No, former Marshal Cook chewed his teeth. The last time he went to Impel Down to recruit little Linlin, he was frustrated, and he was always worried. At this moment, I was even more troubled when I heard the news. I'm going to Impel Down to block him right now. Putting these words aside, Former Marshal Cook stood up decisively and headed for Impel Down. Unfortunately. Chapter 90. Defeat the Gangster Boy. Black Arm. Zephyr. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. South Blue. On the Endless Sea, a pirate ship without a flag encounters a slave ship in the underground world. The battle broke out without any surprise. Shave. Moonwalk. Take the move. Iron Fist. The young 17-year-old boy with a crew cut shook his fist. A light black airflow was wrapped around the sandbag-sized fist. This is armament hockey. This is also the result of Garp's practice in the past half-month. The heroic Iron Fist, which is famous all over the world and scares countless pirates, has been initially achieved. You bastard, are you serious? Do you know who is behind us? I am. The person in charge of the slave ship didn't finish his words. The Iron Fist as big as a sandbag kept dilating in his pupils. Boom. There was a muffled sound. The person in charge of the slave ship was so beaten by Garp's Iron Fist that his eyes were crooked, his mouth was crooked, and all his teeth were missing. I don't care who is behind you. If you dare to carry out dirty human trafficking transactions, you must be punished. Garp roared righteously. Finish all the guards. Garp arrived at the bottom cabin of the slave ship with ease. Release all captured ordinary civilian girls, fur tribes and other rare races. Certainly. This process will not be peaceful. Most of the time there are unlucky pirates among the slaves. Once released, kindness will be repaid with hatred. For these fools, Garp naturally won't be used to it. Educate directly with the Iron Fist of Love. A quarter of an hour later, the ship was completely calm. The trembling slaves couldn't help but cheer excitedly after learning that Garp and Roger would send them home. But before leaving, there is one more thing to do. That is to transfer the prisoners on the original pirate ship. Such little things. Now that Garp is here, there is no need to bother Roger. The prisoner transfer went smoothly. Roger was alone, leaning on the railing on the second floor. In his hand, he was playing with a phone bug that had been connected for a long time. Tisk. Another 5 minutes. Finally there was some sound from the other end of the phone. Ahem. There was a cough. Hey, Beckett, you're still alive. Roger grinned. I have told you before, I will live for a long time. Impel Down Shiro Yasha. 30 years ago, the last part of the Six Kings, Dark Uranus. Beckett opened his mouth. Then you have to hide it. If I accidentally find you, you won't live long. Roger smiled. If you can find it, just look for it. Looking at how confident you are, it might be difficult to find you, but as for rocks. Asshole Yasha, what on earth do you want to do? Don't be so excited, be careful of sudden death. If I really wanted to deal with that kid, I would have dealt with him 10 years ago. The outcome between you and me will be left to the new generation. I hope you can live well until then. Quote. Snort. Brew brew. Gajia. The phone bug hangs up. 1 month later. The last girl with a home to return to has returned to her hometown. Teacher, there are more and more pirates on the ship. Should we get a bigger ship? Garp asked. Forget it, if it's full, just go back to Impel Down first. It's not far away anyway. Roger said casually. The route he planned was not aimless. While sending the slaves home, they are also getting closer to the big prison Impel Down, and will soon be on par with it. Before heading back to Impel Down, first, you need to purchase some necessary supplies. Leave the purchasing to Garp. Roger wandered around the island with nothing to do. At some point, Roger exclaimed, as if he had discovered something. Tisk. There was a flash of lightning. Roger disappears. He appeared again on the rooftop of the adjacent street. On a sparsely populated street, several hoodlums of 17 or 18 years old surrounded a little girl holding a teddy bear. At this time, accompanied by the hunting wind, a purple-haired boy who looked about 13 years old appeared wearing a cloak of justice. Stop. Let me go that girl. The purple-haired boy was holding a wooden stick, and Hockey shouted loudly. The older gangsters were stunned at first, and then. Ha 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 ha, where did this stupid young man come from? I know, this kid is Zephyr who dreams of being a hero all day long. Kid, this is none of your business, get out of here. If you want to be a hero, we don't mind taking care of you too. The gangsters threatened fiercely. I thought the purple-haired boy would shrink from this. But I never thought about it. Please give me flowers. Zephyr's strength is beyond imagination. Even when faced with older gangsters like them, they were not afraid at all, waving wooden sticks and launching attacks. No matter how many times he was knocked down, even if his head was bleeding, he could still stand up tenaciously, his expression as determined as ever. Wow, this kid is a monster too. We are afraid of you. Run. The gangsters were frightened by Zephyr's desperate posture and fled immediately. Thank you. The little girl holding the teddy bear was about to speak. Protecting the weak is a hero's duty. Leaving behind this seemingly cool line, Zephyr raised his head to listen to the fierce and handsome ending. Until he turned a corner and came to a place where the girl couldn't see him. It hurts. 0. The purple-haired boy who broke the gong held his wound and grinned in pain. Hey, wasn't he very handsome before? Way. Roger said with a smile. Who are you? Zephyr was suddenly startled. Want to be a real hero? Boy. The sun sets. Night falls. The coast of an island in South Blue. Too slow, master. Having completed the purchase early, Garp said boredly. Sorry, it took a little time. Roger smiled. Hey, teacher, who is this kid next to you? Garp's eyes lit up. He's Zephyr, he's coming with us next. Roger said. Is he your junior brother? Garp is exciting. Hey, junior brother Zephyr, I am senior brother Garp, the only senior brother. If you meet anyone claiming to be senior brother in the future, they will all be fake. Do you understand? I haven't become a teacher yet. I still need to think about it. Only a hero can become my teacher. The young Zephyr said seriously. Hero. What a coincidence, my teacher happens to be a hero. Real, of course, and he is an incredible hero. In that case, my city. Teacher Roger. Ha ha ha, let's go. Roger laughed happily, although South Blue did not find Garp's good friend Sengoku during this trip. But finding Zephyr was enough to surprise Roger. After all, he is the future Black Arm Admiral. Also a marine legend. Chapter 91 Bring Garp Zephyr home. Impel Down 3 Admiral. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. The days are passing by. 2 months. Former Marshal Old Cook looked forward to the stars and the moon. I waited at the Impel Down offshore platform for 2 months. Still couldn't wait for Roger's return. On the contrary, he helped handle many affairs in large prisons. Call. Deputy Director Macaw blew the thermos cup in her hand and spoke persuadingly. Mr. Cook, it's better not to wait any longer. Our willful director may not be back until soon. Old Cook clenched his fists, with an inexplicable expression on his face. Macaw's words happened to be the last straw for him. Let me know when that guy comes back. Old Cook said. No problem, Mr. Cook. Macaw agreed. By the way, where did you buy your 650 thermos cup? It looks good. Maka. I stayed at Impel Down for 2 months. Former Marshal Old Cook is finally gone. And on the same day that Old Cook returned to his headquarters. The warship guarding Impel Down again sounded a brief alarm. Uncle, the director is back. Do I need to inform Mr. Cook? Warden Baka asked for instructions. This. Macaw was stunned. He had just advised Cook to go back and rest. At this moment Roger is back. What a clever word. Those who didn't know thought he colluded with Roger to deliberately send away Old Cook. If this were notified now, it would make Old Cook angry and vomit blood. When the time comes, he will also be dealt with. No. Absolutely not. Ahem. Let's waive it. Mr. Cook has been busy at Impel Down for 2 months. Now it's better for him to have a good rest. I'll contact him personally in 2 days. Deputy Director Macaw spoke seriously. Okay then, I'll go to the sea level to meet the director first. Warden Baka came to the offshore platform. Director, thank you for your hard work. It's a good harvest this time. I'll leave it to you next, Baka. Yes, Director. And these two are. Warden Baka noticed the 2 teenagers following Roger. Garp, Zephyr, we are all family from now on. Roger introduced concisely and comprehensively. Watching Roger and the 3 of them walk away, Warden Baka then laughed and shook his head. There is no doubt about it. Anyone who can be picked up by his own director and brought back must be a genius. If Roger continues to pick up geniuses like this, he will come back. I'm afraid their Impel Down positions will have to be reformed in the future. Impel Down the 3rd General, it sounds good. Roger took 2 disciples, Garp and Zephyr, and took the elevator directly to the 4th underground floor. First, I went to the director's office and said hello to the tool man, Old Maka. Then he laughed and left under the resentful sight of Old Macaw. Not long after, Roger took Garp and Zephyr to the freezing hell on the 5th underground floor. This is the legendary deep-sea prison Impel Down. It's really special. Garp sighed. Can I really be a hero here? Translator thought to himself. But since he had already become a disciple and boarded the ship, he had no room for regret. Hey, teacher, didn't Impel Down say there are only 5 floors? Why is there a 6th floor below? Garp looked at the entrance to the 5.5th floor underground and asked in surprise. What you know is just to let the public know. Impel Down has always been on the 6th floor. In addition, now we are not going to the 6th floor underground, but the 5.5 floors between the 5th and 6th floors. Roger explained with a smile. I see. Garp looked stunned. Even if I don't understand, I still pretend to understand now. Go through a long and narrow corridor. The front suddenly becomes clear. Welcome back, but sir. The young witch lady received the news from Macaw and waited early. Also waiting is 7-year-old Linlin, who has grown taller and slimmer. Grandpa Roger, welcome back. Xiao Ling, I haven't seen you for a few months, and you have become beautiful again. Roger stroked the little head of 7-year-old Linlin. Yes, Grandpa Roger, I am losing weight now and strive to become as slim and beautiful as my sisters as soon as possible. Little Linlin happily enjoyed the headbutt from Roger. Losing weight is weight loss, you still have to eat what you need to eat. Roger said earnestly. Roger, this boy is Garp, where is the other one? Which Miss Esmeralda was stunned. From the mouth of Dia, who loves her sisters. She knew that Roger went to East Blue and kidnapped a young sailor named Garp. The angry old cook immediately chased Impel Down and worked for 2 months. That's it for one. This is one more. Oh, this guy is Zephyr, the disciple I took on my way back. Garp here seems to need no introduction. Roger introduced casually. Master. Okay. The purple-haired boy Zephyr bowed politely. Miss Witch happily agreed. For her who still has no heirs. The disciple Roger brought back. In a sense, they are like their children. Teacher Roger. Garp took 2 steps forward and poked Roger's waist with his hand. Teacher, I didn't expect that you are still an innocent old man. You are almost 60, and you still like a beautiful girl who is 18 years old. Garp winked, looking like he didn't deserve a beating. And then, he just got beaten up. Don't be deceived by appearances. The teacher's wife in front of you is older than the teacher and I. Roger said seriously. Alas, alas. The 2 teenagers Ka 3.1 Pooh and Zephyr were both shocked. Immediately afterwards, a scene that surprised the 2 of them more and more happened. Brother Roger. Miss Witch narrowed her eyes and looked at Roger with a smile. Ah ha ha, is something wrong? Roger laughed. Elbow, talk to your sister about the house. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Old Cook knocked on his waist, and the old god returned to his home to rest. He just walked off the front foot. The contact from the back foot Impel Down direction came. Roger is back. Do you want to tell Mr. Cook? Marshal Raymond's old face twitched. Stop it. Assistant Vice Admiral Tia's mouth twitched. Let me go and have a look. Chapter 92 Marine Goddess. Elbow, come into the house with me, please subscribe. Advertise here. More than 20 years ago, Roger secretly participated in the battle for treasures at an ancient ruins in the New World. Obtained the supernatural product sealed in the ruins, pure gold. Just wear it. It can slow down the cell division of the body 10 times. The lifespan of an average person is around 100 years. Pure gold can allow people to live longer than the giants and have a long life of nearly 1,000 years. Certainly, the tenfold extension of life starts from the moment you wear pure gold. Tia and Esmeralda wore Roger's solid gold ring more than 20 years ago. For them, the Japanese army is equivalent to 2 years. So now 20 years later, Miss Witch and Tia are still as old as wolves and tigers. Especially the witch lady who is cold on the outside but passionate on the inside. No matter how many years pass, the inside is still so excellent. It is simply a famous device among famous devices. Roger was captured. 23 The 2 young men left behind, Garp and Zephyr, stared at each other with big eyes. I didn't know what to do for a while. Fortunately, there is still 7-year-old Linlin here. Although she is the youngest, she has stayed here for 2 years. It's not a problem to help Garp and Zephyr lead the way and introduce the 5.5 underground floors. Half an hour later, after introducing the place where you will live, little Linlin took Garp and Zephyr to the public training ground on the other side. The young jailers at Impel Down are still practicing the 6 poses hard today. The exchange students studying abroad in world government are still the same group as 2 years ago. After this year, they will be able to graduate from here. Linlin. Xiao Ling. Little Linlin, I heard that Director Roger is back. Is it true? Little Linlin, the only prison girl in Impel Down, was warmly greeted by the teenagers as soon as she appeared. Little Linlin, who are the 2 people behind you? It seems like you have never seen them before. Asked a young jailer. They are Brother Garp and Brother Zephyr, the disciples that Grandpa Roger just brought back from outside. Little Linlin introduced. Alas, alas, is this another disciple brought back by Lord Roger? Then are they as powerful as Little Linlin? It goes without saying, after all, he is the disciple brought back by the director. Shocked uproar broke out from the young jailers. PFF ha 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 ha, hello everyone, I'm Garp. Monkey D. Garp. Garp, who has social psoriasis, greeted everyone with a smile without any hesitation. I'm Zephyr. In contrast, Zephyr, a 13-year-old boy, is much shyer. So good, you can become the director's disciple. I also want to become the director's personal disciple. Those 2 people are also disciples of the director here, don't they look good? Sis, the mean-mouthed boy who was slapped into the wall by little Linlin 2 years ago, hugged his arms and didn't care much. No matter how inconspicuous he looks, he is still that man's disciple. You must not be careless. How about forget it? Anyway, it won't be long before we graduate and get out of here. The less trouble, the better. World Government CP. The teenagers nodded one after another, feeling that it would be better to do less than to do more. So as not to repeat the mistakes of 2 years ago. But Rob, the strongest CP as the captain, didn't think so. 2 years ago, he was killed by little Linlin with a slap in the face, and the wound had long since healed, but this humiliation was deeply reflected in his heart like a knife carving an axe. If it cannot be resolved, it will be with him for the rest of his life. He didn't want to fight the monster born with strange strength. But Garp, who is similar to himself in age and looks stupid. It seems possible, so, 17-year-old Rob once again stepped up and challenged Garp. Garp, who has always been carefree, readily agreed. The battle begins. 3 seconds later. The battle is over. The young CP Rob tries to resist with his strongest iron body. Once again, I succumb to my confidence in iron body. The proud iron body was broken by Garp's iron fist of love and killed instantly. Even if I only learned the weapon colors for 2 months, I only had a preliminary grasp of them. The power of Garp's iron fist has also undergone qualitative changes compared to 2 months ago. If Garp faced Roger again now, he will definitely beat him to death. Seeing his strongest Luo Bufa fall, the mean-mouthed young Sith also cowered in horror. I dare not challenge the ignorant Zephyr again. The farce is over. Little Linlin took Garp and Zephyr back to the other side. Roger is still missing. However, when they returned, they happened to meet Vice Admiral Tia, who had arrived. Are you Roger's disciple, Garp? Tia recognized Garp immediately. Then he cast a suspicious look at Zephyr. Sister Tia, this is Zephyr, also a disciple of Grandpa Roger. Little Linlin quickly introduced. Oh, Tia raised her eyebrows slightly. Auntie, who are you? Garp asked carelessly. He, because of Mom. The corners of DIA's mouth twitched. Without saying a word, he walked to the bathroom. Brother Garp, you are going to be in trouble. That was also the master's wife before, and Sister Tia is also very young and beautiful. Little Linlin spoke seriously. Haha, light, beautiful, which one is relevant? 140 Garp has a weird face. As for Mrs. Tia, she can match the teacher's age. Zephyr nodded seriously. Not long after, the sound of high heels hitting the ground was heard. Tia washed off the specially painted old age makeup on her face and reappeared in front of the 2 teenagers. Boy Garp, are you still a aunt now? Dia asked with a half smile. Garp and Zephyr both widened their eyes. I was completely shocked by Tia's transformation. The atmosphere was a little awkward. At this time, during the intermission, Roger took the opportunity to sneak out and said, Tia, you're here too. Is this going to stop working? Tia looked Roger up and down. Not just Miss Witch, she also endured it for 3 months. Ah ha ha ha, let's not talk about that first. Let me introduce my disciples to you. Roger changed the subject. I have already met Garp and Zephyr, and this time I am here just for their business, so. Vice Admiral Tia smiled slightly. Elbow, come back to the house with me and have a good discussion about the 2 teenagers. Roger, Garp, Zephyr, Little Linlin, I'll take you to visit the upper floor again. Chapter 93 The Frustrated 5 Elders. Marine Occupation Plan. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. World Center. Holy Land Mariajoy. The meeting hall of the 5 elders. Haha, that Impel Down by Yaksha brought back 2 disciples with extraordinary talents. Haha, those CP boys were beaten again. How far are they going to embarrass the government? Recall them immediately. Bald birthmark 5 elders and sword-wielding samurai Old Star Lao Xing's face is as black as the bottom of a pot. Listening to the news reported by my subordinates, I felt very upset. The good mood of the day ended when I heard the news about Roger. First it was the strange girl, and now she has brought back 2 disciples. Could it be that Bai Yaksha wants to form 3 generals in Impel Down? What a joke. Does he really want Impel Down to be completely autonomous and become a huge force comparable to Marine? The bald old star with birthmarks long legs couldn't stop shaking anxiously. The worst thing is that we really can't touch him now. The blonde 5 elders frowned and shook their heads. What do you mean? Asked the old star, the sword-wielding warrior. No matter if we touch that Shirayasha, Marine will react. What if he gets pushed into a corner? I mean, if he recruits all the pirates who were impelled as his subordinates. The blonde 5 elders said nothing. But the other 4 old men in the hall already understood what he meant. If things really develop to that point, for them, world government will be an unprecedented disaster. It was Impel Down after all. There are hundreds of thousands of pirates imprisoned there. The legend of eternal hell is even more capable of defeating 1 against 1,000. With Bai Yaksha's strength and means. They had no doubts. If Roger raises the flag, the prisoners kept their promise. At least 80% of the pirates would join him. That man is really dangerous, but all we can do now is to endure it until he is dead. The curly-haired aristocrat 5 elders shook his head in frustration. The life of the insect will not last long, and in a few decades, it will be time for him to be buried. The most ancient 5 elders faintly opened their mouths. Having said that, we can't be too laissez-faire now. Tell Old Cook the news and let him make trouble. That night, headquarters building, Marshal's office. Raymond Old Cook glared. Marshal Raymond grinned and decisively passed the blame. Mr. Cook, this is none of my business. Your disciples are not allowed to talk about it. Besides, I also considered that Mr. Cook, you are too old to be stimulated. Old Cook blew his beard and stared, thinking who am I doing this for? All for Marine. You guys actually banded together to hide it from me. Now arrange for me a warship to go to Impel Down. Old Cook said. This, isn't it good? It's getting late, how about tomorrow? I'm sorry, it's not that I didn't arrange it, but it's just that the warships in our headquarters can't get away. Raymond spread his hands. Old Cook glanced at him sideways, wondering who did you fool. I really don't think I've ever been a Marine Marshal. Forget it, the warship is still too slow, I'd better go there by myself. Old Cook pushed open the door and walked out. Zone bird fruit is a magical beast species in the form of a griffin. Old Cook transformed into a mighty griffin. Spread your wings, soaring into the sky, under the dark night. A bright golden light flashed across. After an hour. Griffin Old Cook landing Impel Down. Mr. Cook, you are here. Warden Baka, who had been contacted early, quickly stepped forward to greet him. It was supposed to be Deputy Director Macaw, only. Where is that old boy Macaw? How dare we join forces to trick me into leaving? I will definitely make him look good. Old Cook said angrily. Ha ha ha, what a coincidence, Mr. Cook, Uncle Maka is ill, and the doctor said he should have a good rest. Baka laughed. Old Cook glared. Of course, you can't guess that the old boy Macaw is clearly avoiding him. Forget it, I'll settle the old boy's debt later. Now take me to see Roger. Old Cook waved his hand. Yes, Mr. Cook, Director Roger has been waiting in the office for a long time. Baka quickly led the way. Take Old Cook on the elevator. 2 minutes later, blazing hell has arrived on the 4th underground floor. Teacher, Tia, who had been waiting since early, quickly stepped forward to greet him. Tia, you have also imitated that boy, and you even dared to deceive the teacher. Old Cook shook his head sadly. That's not true, Teacher Cook, I'm here to help you find out the news in advance and get Roger's story. Tia said seriously. So, what's that kid's attitude? Is he still refusing to let go? No, Roger said, he originally planned to send Garp and Zephyr to Marine. Look, I just said, what? He wants to send his disciple to Marine. He must have taken the wrong medicine. Old Cook looked incredulous. Mr. Cook, I heard you talking about me from a long way away, isn't it good? Roger leaned against the door of the director's office, smiled and spoke. Boy Roger, are you telling the truth? Are you not cheating on me? What's the point of lying to you? Besides, it's enough for me to guard this place in Impel Down. Anything more would be a waste of talent. Roger said seriously. In addition, there is another most important purpose. The relationship between Marine executives and him is indeed very good now. But a few more decades. After the older generation retires. A new generation of Marine leaders. Roger plans to let his disciples go to the top. This is Roger's Marine occupation plan. I didn't expect you to have such an awareness, Roger. It's not bad, but you still. Oh, I didn't say anything last time. Old Cook thought about it and felt that it was true. Garp, Zephyr, come here, this is Marine's former Marshal Cook. Roger waved. Mr. Cook, Marshal Cook. Garp and Zephyr came forward to greet them. Okay, they are all good boys. Old Cook was all smiles. After learning that Roger planned to send his disciples to Marine. His attitude also underwent a 180-degree change. Ever since being beaten up by Roger 30 years ago. This was the first time he had seen Roger so pleased with him. So, when do you plan to arrange for the two of them to report to Marine? Old Cook asked. It's not urgent. I plan to train them for a few more years, especially Zephyr. He hasn't learned the 6 moves yet. Mr. Cook shouldn't mind. Roger asked. Well, that makes sense. Cook nodded. However, let me stay, and I also want to bring the elite seeds I have brought here to train with me. Cook made his request. He planned to completely tie Garp and Zephyr to him in Marine. Roger, you shouldn't mind. Of course not, you're welcome. Roger agreed. Ha ha ha, Old Cook smiled. There is Roger boy helping Marine train elites. Wonderful. Ha ha ha. Roger smiled too. Former Marshal Old Cook is working and teaching in the prison for free, so I can feel more at ease when I go out for a walk in the future. Wonderful. Tia. 2 Old Foxes. Chapter 94 Catch Sengoku. Teach the girl crane until dawn. Open black lens bracket please subscribe close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Another year has passed in a hurry. Time comes to see circle calendar 1462. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Received contact from Marshal Raymond. Although Vice Admiral Tia was tired, she immediately came to the Marshal's office to report. Mr. Raymond, what's wrong? Roger ran out again. Haha, didn't he go back to Impel Down? According to the description of the sailor, Roger seemed to be in a good mood this morning, and he accidentally let slip that he had locked the target. Do you have any clues? Marshal Raymond asked. Vice Admiral Tia shook her head in confusion. What did you do last night? Raymond asked again. Vice Admiral Tia's face turned slightly red and she quickly turned her head. Thoughts raced through my head. Think carefully. Roger was indeed a little different last night than usual. It's like taking drugs. Keep tossing and tell. Marshal Raymond. The green-haired Commodore trotted over. Come in. Tia Vice Admiral is also here, which is great. Ahem, what happened? Dia coughed twice to drive away the thoughts in her mind. Yes, Tia Vice Admiral. When I was sorting out the information on today's special recruitment of elites, I found that a page was missing. Said the green-haired Commodore. Oh, who is missing? Tia raised her eyebrows unexpectedly. It's number 24, Captain Sengoku of the South Blue Branch. Marshal Raymond glanced at TIA 183. It seems almost certain that this captain named Sengoku has attracted that person's attention. Dia frowned slightly. No words were spoken. Too deliberate. The flaws are too deliberate. It was almost like telling them, I'm going to catch Sengoku back to Impel Down. But this is Roger's style. But Tia always felt something was wrong. If Roger's real target is not Sengoku. Tia quickly took the list information from Commodore. Checked carefully one by one. Finally, she found it. The real goal of Roger's trip. Grand Line Marine G6 Branch Ensign, a 17-year-old girl Crane. Hey, Roger, his old habit is back again, but it doesn't seem to be a problem. Mr. Cook is also Impel Down anyway. Besides, Mr. Cook would have taken these elites to Impel Down in batches for training. Why is Roger so anxious? Marshal Raymond shook his head with confusion on his face. He. Tia laughed several times, with a subtle arc at the corner of her mouth. That guy has indeed made an old habit, and it seems he needs to be corrected. Marshal Raymond, I'm going to go to the G6 branch next. Say it. Vice Admiral Tia stepped forward with her long legs, CDAJ left vigorously and resolutely. Marshal Raymond rubbed his head. Both of them can't understand this couple. The night is dark. The waves crashed against the rocks, making a swishing sound. Marine G6 branch base, coast. A girl with a high black ponytail, about 17 years old, was constantly performing single movements such as moving forward, stepping, and retreating. Soon I will be heading to the naval headquarters, where all the talented sailors in the world gather. I am still far away, and I must be more proficient. The pretty face of the 17-year-old girl he was filled with determination. Because of being a daughter. Since childhood, the people around her have been instilling in her the thinking that women don't need to be strong, and seamen really want men. However, the girl Crane has never been affected by the people around her. Always work hard towards your goals. If your physical talent is not as good as that of men, then you should work twice as hard. With hard work, she has reached where she is now step by step. He is about to become a glorious sailor of the headquarters. But she also knew it at the same time. After entering the headquarters, competition will be more intense. She has to face talented sailors from all over the world. Want to stand out from the crowd. She wants to gain the respect of men as a woman. She must work harder and harder. Only what you get through hard work belongs to you. There is no time to rest, let's continue. The girl he wiped the sweat from her smooth face. Continue the basic training of 6 postures. The bright moon hangs high. I don't know how much time has passed. The girl Crane's breathing gradually became rapid. At this time, if your steps are messy, if you are tired, take a rest. A figure sounded behind the girl Crane without any warning. Silent night. A strange voice suddenly sounded from behind. Even the young girl Crane, who was an outstanding sailor, couldn't help but be shocked. The steps staggered backwards, falling into the arms of the person behind you. Roger was stunned, subconsciously hugging the girl his delicate body. The next second, a cold sword touched Roger's waist. Who are you? The girl Crane changed her previous panic, demonstrating the qualities of an elite Navy soldier. The previous stumbling was just a pretense. Everything is just to get close to and hold the intruder hostage and obtain intelligence. Roger was stunned again. Immediately, the corner of his mouth raised a smile of satisfaction. Excellent responsiveness and execution. Roger nodded in approval. Who are you? The girl Crane was unmoved. The dagger in his right hand slowly advances. Ding. A soft sound. The girl Crane's dagger touched Roger's body. What came out was a crisp sound of golden iron. Girl He's heart sank. Realized something was wrong. The other party is not something she can hold hostage with a dagger. Unexpected. The man in front of her had no intention of doing anything excessive to her. Just let her go in a gentlemanly manner. Watch carefully, young sailor, this is how the 6th form is used. Roger spoke. The words fell. His figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he was already 100 meters away. So fast. Is this shaving? Tread. Roger stepped on the moonwalk and soared into the sky. Tempest kick. He raised his right foot and waved it down towards the sea. Boom. The sea split into 2 under Roger's tempest kick. Large waves tens of meters high spread to both sides. This is tempest kick. The girl Crane was stunned. My heart was also filled with turbulent waves like the sea. A little heart was beating fast. It feels like the worldview is about to be overturned. Even the strongest instructor at tempest kick in the G6 base is not enough to protect the person in front of him. Whoosh. The girl's vision flickered. Roger, who had kicked away the sea, was already in front of her again. A flick of the finger. A rock exploded 100 meters away. Is this a finger pistol? The girl Crane murmured in shock. This is flying finger pistol. Roger blew his fingers coolly. Listen up, young sailor, the secret to the 6th form is. Immediately, Roger told the girl Crane all the 6 tricks he had improved over the years. Listening to Roger's words is better than 10 years of practice. The 6 movements that Roger described were hundreds of times more advanced than those taught by the instructors in the base. Many of the problems that troubled the girl he suddenly became clear in an instant. For a long time. Roger's teaching is over. It's getting late today, let's go back and rest first. Roger spoke. Wow. He casually put the cloak of justice he had picked up on the girl's thin body. The wind is chilly at night, be careful not to catch a cold. If you have any troubles, you can come here to see me at this time tomorrow night. After saying this, Roger turned around gracefully and waved goodbye. Wait a minute, why are your 6 styles so powerful? The girl crane asked. Because I am the founder of the 6 styles. Roger smiled slightly. Chapter 95 The Wise Girl Crane. Capture. Showdown. Open black lens bracket. Please subscribe. Close black lens bracket. Advertise here. Wow. The waves crashed against the rocks. The cliff behind the marine G6 branch base. Roger sat on the big bluestone, recalling the previous lecture in his mind. I couldn't help nodding with satisfaction, wanting to give myself a thumbs up. The previous teaching was simply perfect. Strong, upright, and inadvertently revealed his identity as Vice Admiral. The lethality to young girls is huge. Now this time. I'm afraid the 17-year-old girl has completely fallen. Another disciple. Get. Roger thought happily. Well. Of course, South Blue's future Marine Marshal Sengoku, Roger also wants to be under his command. It's just that even he is a clone, incompetent. You can only fool one person at a time. Between Sengoku and the girl crane, Roger decisively made the right choice. At this moment, dormitory for female soldiers at G6 base. Because there are few female soldiers. At the same time, because they are elites. The girl crane has her own independent single room. After a simple wash, I tried to remove the sweat stains on my body. The girl crane sat down at the table. In front of him is Roger's cloak of justice. She closed her eyes, sat quietly for a moment, picked up the cloak in front of her, brought it to Chong's nose, and took a deep breath. Such behavior, if seen by others, it will definitely be regarded as the behavior of a madman. But the expression on the girl crane's face was unprecedentedly serious. This is her consistent character. Phew. The girl crane took deep breaths continuously. The smell of Roger fills your mouth and nose. Sure enough, it's not right. The girl's beautiful eyes lit up, as if she had discovered something. This marine cloak of justice, which represents Vice Admiral, doesn't just smell like Roger. There is also a faint feminine fragrance like jasmine. Then, the girl crane knows. This Vice Admiral cape does not belong to Roger. Only. The girl crane closed her beautiful eyes again. Roger's unimaginably powerful marine 6 styles began to replay in his mind. And his 6 style theory and teaching are more profound than anything else. The girl crane pursed her lips seriously. Roger's Vice Admiral identity is fake. But his claim to be the founder of the 6 styles is not necessarily false. Marine 6 styles, also known as Impel Down 6 styles. It was first proposed by the former warden of the deep-sea prison Impel Down, and was related to the Marine Carl Vice Admiral of the previous era, the current Tiadia, and the current Admiral. The girl crane's strongest brain is working again. Summarize the information you have learned so far. It doesn't take much time at all. A look of understanding appeared on the girl's pretty face. That person is the director of Impel Down, Roger Shirayasha. But why is the legendary hero here? And why should he guide me? I'm just an inconspicuous branch sailor. Is there anything worthy of someone like that coming here in person? The girl crane frowned in deep thought. She stood up and lowered her head, unable to see her toes. Come to the floor mirror. Looking at myself in the mirror, it is indeed iconic. How come? The girl laughed and shook her head. But since the legendary hero is willing to teach me, then I'll accept it and see what he wants to do by the way. The next day, late at night, still the same time. Same location. Roger stood on the rock, his hands behind his back. The hair is fluttering in the wind, and the look is full of elegance. Ta ta ta, came trotting footsteps. Teacher. The girl let out a sweet cry. Roger nodded with satisfaction. No unnecessary nonsense. If you are here, then start practicing as soon as possible and wake up, my training is very difficult. Roger spoke majestically. Yes, master. The girl crane responded with her mouth full. Practice. Begin. From the first half of the night to the last half of the night. Then the first touch of fish belly white appears on the eastern horizon. Teaching until dawn. The girl who had been tortured by Roger all night, collapsed helplessly on the beach. Panting heavily, he didn't even want to move a finger. I can only take a leave from the instructor during the day. The girl crane thought like this and was about to fall into a deep sleep. I don't know how much time has passed. The girl's nose fluttered. Wake up to the aroma of barbecue. Open your eyes. Roger is grilling sea kings, which is sizzling with oil. Come over and have something to eat when you wake up. Roger greeted with a smile. Is teacher. The girl Chang stood up. Roger first served her a bowl of special mushroom soup. The girl blew on the crane, and her bowl was filled with sunshine. Please give me flowers. His eyes lit up immediately. There is no doubt about the taste of the mushroom soup, absolutely delicious. However, what surprised the girl crane even more was the effects of the soup. She only felt that her lost physical strength was quickly recovering. This is the cooking of Roger, whose cooking skills have reached the IV5 Master Chef level. Making delicious food that restores physical strength is naturally a piece of cake. Teacher, what kind of food is this? It's so amazing. Even the usually calm girl he was completely captured by Roger's cooking. Haha, don't worry, there is plenty, go ahead and eat as much as you want. Roger smiled. Full of wine and food. The sky is also completely bright. See you in the evening, teacher. Under Roger's special cooking, the young girl who was full of energy, ran away happily. The next day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, under Roger's devoted guidance, the girl Crane's attainments in the 6 movements are rising rapidly. Even the 6th form instructor at the G6 base was dumbfounded and ashamed. It was late at night on the 6th day. Roger usually waits at the shore. He was thinking that it was time to reveal his true identity. Teacher. The girl Crane's sweet call woke Roger up. Coming. Roger turned around, but he saw that the girl Crane was holding a clean Vice Admiral cloak in her hand. Teacher, today I return the property to its original owner. The girl Crane spoke seriously. Thank you for helping me clean up. Roger smiled and was about to take it, but he saw the girl Crane smile slyly. He nimbly dodged to avoid Roger's big hand. Teacher, actually I knew it from the beginning. The girl Crane smiled brightly. Quote. Roger didn't finish speaking. The sound of rustling footsteps came from the dense forest not far away. A tall figure then appeared in front of Roger. Tia Vice Admiral, this. The girl Crane returns the Vice Admiral cloak to its original owner. Thank you, Xiaohei. Vice Admiral Tia took it with a smile. Immediately his eyes fell on Roger. The smile on his lips grew stronger. Mr. Roger, can you explain? Why is my cloak here? Hoo. Roger looked up at the sky and whistled guiltily. So,